So I should have a disclaimer at the start of the show saying that no AI robots were harmed in the use of this, not harmed, used in the making of this podcast. Actually, no, maybe that's a lie because I think I've got an AI robot doing the opening again.
Because you've harmed them. Let's be honest. It's not the use. It's you've actually harmed all of them. You enjoy bringing harm to the AI robots. Don't lie to the people.
I don't. I like the help that they give me.
Keep them in the basement. You don't let them out.
Well, I do.
You're here to help.
They can do the opening. They do the opening, and that's it now. So I'm going to roll the titles and let them take that, and then we can come back and we can do the talking because that's fair.
Seems fair.
Welcome to the Two Titans and a Hunter Destiny 2 podcast, a show dedicated to bringing you the latest intel, the mightiest news, and the boldest opinions from the farthest reaches of the Sol system. Whether you're a bright-eyed new guardian, fresh from the Cosmodrome, or a battle-hardened veteran of the Red War, this is your Destiny destination. We'll arm you with tips, tricks, and tower-worthy tools to help you triumph, thrive, and revel in the glory of the fight. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show.
So, welcome to the show this week. You have myself, Night Demon, and Peroty here, just to go through all of the information that has been thrown at us this week, from This Week in Destiny to a live stream, a dev insight, Guardians for Good, our opinions, and more. So, how have you been this week, Peroty?
I've been here.
You've been there?
I've been tired.
Good.
Yep. I still have all 10 fingers and toes from fireworks that I did not set off last night, but watched other people set off. So
that's good.
All of my toes and fingers are still here, unlike some people waking up this morning. So yeah, don't blow body parts off. It's not a good plan. Yeah, no, it's been a very long week at work, and I've watched some of the dev stream, and I watched the dev stream recap, and I was a little terrified at this is the longest twid ever coming to you. But it was a lot of pictures, a lot of graphs, and I was a little less fearful when I actually saw it once they had released it.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit really more broken down this time, doesn't it?
Yeah, because they've really dropped some massive ones on us in the past, and it is all just like chock full of data and numbers and changes. And this is like a little recap, a little lore. It's little of this, little of that. It was a little less dense than I was sort of fearing it might be.
It seems more broken down with like this is this, not like we feel that we need to do this and have a like whole 10-page essay on the reasons why they're feeling that and why they want to do that. It's more like this is the reason, bish bash bosh, done.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got all that to look forward to. But first, I'm going to talk to you about what I've been doing this week in Destiny, because really been enjoying the Nonary Engram Farming, or just Nonary manifolds to buy my Nonary engrams up to 20, because there are some fantastic things available in those Nonary engrams, and some of the things that were data mined are in there, but there are more things. I got drops of things that I didn't realize that were going to be available, because when you go to the emissary at the right of the line and you hover over the Nonary engram and you have a look at it, and it's got the full list of things I think that were leaked a couple of weeks ago, which we kind of went over last week of what's available. But it doesn't stop at that list of and pictures of things from the emissary. There are more things. And I was talking to Blue this week, and he said that Aztecross and his community were trying to put together a detailed look at what you can actually get from these drops, because there are things that just have been showing up that nobody knew that was going to be available. I got I think it was for the Forerunner, a skin for the Forerunner gun, which wasn't in the list. I did get a holochip, which I was unhappy about, because it says that you will get things that you haven't got before. And I definitely had that still in my inventory because I hadn't used those holochips. So that was a good thing that I kept them in the inventory, but I got another one. So I wasn't happy about that. And I did hear somebody else on another podcast say that they got 3 holochips to drop. And I'm like, please don't let it be like 3 holochips for my out of my 20.
2 blues.
Yeah. But yeah, I've just been running through the dungeons. I did a Ghost of the Deep, and I did a couple. Well, I think I did about 3 of the Prophecy, because the Prophecy is the featured dungeon for this week. And we were talking last week, and I said to you, I'm really confused at these rotations because looking in the TWABs and going back, right, I'm going to point it out because in the TWAB for the 19th of June, so they say that week of June 24th, Spire of the Watcher, week of June 1st will be Ghost of the Deep. So that's this week that we are currently in should be Ghost of the Deep. And then next week, July 8th, will be Prophecy, which has increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters, increased rewards and currency. But I think, like I said last week, I think they messed up. I think they've all kind of... Spire was the week before, Ghost was last week, and Prophecy is this week, definitely, because Ghost was last week, because I was saying about that. So Prophecy is this week, because next week it's all dungeons. And that's what was really confusing, because I went back through all the TWABs and I was like, no, I'm sure they've said it's this, but no, it's definitely that. So I've gone with that in the This Week in Destiny videos and said, yeah, Prophecy will be up next week. But, well, no, I said last week that the Prophecy... No, last week I said Ghost of the... Anyway, I said one of the things that was going to be this week, but it isn't this week. Yeah.
So basically, we're right back to Guess the Rotation Crucible Edition, and now we have Guess the Rotation Dungeon Edition.
No, it's definitely going to be all dungeons next week, because obviously we've got to Prophecy this week and we've got the Lootapalooza next week. But yeah, it's really confusing. I'm like, well, why? Why have we not clarified this? I mean, I haven't done a deep dive and gone on Twitter and looked on Blue Sky and things like that to say, maybe they did tweet it out. So yeah,
and sort of, yeah. Like there's been a lot of fashion tweets this week, like fashion talk, but yeah, not a whole lot of like game update. It's been a little maddening trying to follow and trying to keep track of what's where, and they've been sharing a bunch of fashion things like through other creators that they're then like retweeting. And I'm going, but I'm looking for things from you all. So it's been confusing trying to keep up with the news. It seems like they're really laying heavily onto creators sharing things that they're then boosting, which fine. But it's like, why? I mean, again, not taking anything away from the creators, but it's like, do we not have the people to do this anymore? Are they doing a better job? Is this just are you leading into this partnership more heavily? Yeah, it's made it just a little harder to try to follow things and try to keep up with what's happening where and where things are getting posted.
I think maybe they just gave up with like, oh, okay, we made a mistake. Let's not say anything, because we've had many things go wrong. We'll just ignore it and hopefully nobody picks us up on it. But I've picked you up on it. I'm telling you, the rotation was wrong. You told us in the TWABs, all wrong. Anyway,
I'm not happy with you, Bungie.
No.
Good. Think about what you've done.
I have enjoyed going in and playing the dungeons, because you get, I think it's 120 of those Nonary manifolds per encounter. And then at the final boss chest, you get an extra 50. And I got that with Prophecy. And then when we did Ghost of the Deep, I also got another 50 at the final boss chest. So I don't know what's up with the loot, to be honest, because I would have thought you get more in Prophecy because it is the featured one. But who knows these days? I still got loads of stuff. So I was doing that just on the normal Explorer match-made versions so that I could just quickly run through them. And I think it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes a run. And I was getting more than 350. And then sometimes by the time I'd collected quite a few of them, I got more than that. So I was like, bish, bash, bosh, threw it at the emissary and got quite a few of these cool things. I got the Iron Banner finisher. I got the Dropkick finisher. I got the Sparrow that I'd missed from, I think, season 3 or 4. Then I got the Forerunner ornament. What else was there? There was a hollow chip in there. I also got a Sparrow. And then there was something else, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, I've been getting some really good stuff and stuff that I didn't realize I'd missed. So it's definitely worth doing it, because you never know. Like I was saying last week, some of the things that if you did miss it from the collections, Bungie just hid them from the collections. You don't know that they're there. And I think it was to try and take away that FOMO feeling of, oh, I missed out on seasons 1 through to whatever. But then in recent seasons, they've actually shown you it's just grayed out, but you can go and preview the different things. So that's quite cool. So it's definitely worth doing. I mean, you've still got next week with the Lootapalooza and all of that. So you've got enough time to get the Nonary manifolds and get your 20 that you're allowed to buy. But then if you log in next week, you can also get 1 per day from the emissary to pop open. So more incentive to log in each day and get your Bright Dust from the Eververse store, because that'll be the last time you can do that. So yeah.
Lots to do. Lots to do that I need to catch up on.
Yeah.
That's all I'm hearing. Here are things you should be doing or should have done that you have not done yet. And speaking of things you should be doing and have not done yet, if you haven't, you should go to Xur. As you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, while Xur is up here over the weekend of July 5th and 6th, because Xur is selling the Choir of One. If you did not work to get your Choir of One through the mission with the lovely glitched boss and run it 1,000 times to unlock all the catalysts and bits, the Choir of One, he's just selling it for 23 strange coins. You can just walk over to him this weekend and just pick it up for 23 strange coins. And then you'll have it, because that's going to be on the featured exotic list for next week. I'm sorry, for Edge of Fate, because that's one of our featured exotics. He is also selling Queenbreaker this week, which is also going to be on our list of... Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure the Queenbreaker was on the list.
Yeah, I think it is. And the catalyst for the Leviathan's Breath bow, the heavy bow.
He's also selling the Arbalist, which is also on the featured
list.
Exotic list for next week. Gosh, I keep saying for next week. For Edge of Fate. Edge of Fate. So 2 weeks from now.
After, yeah.
Yes. So 2 weeks from now. Yeah. So he's selling a bunch of things, for the Edge of Fate. So yeah, if you've been, actually no, Queenbreaker is, I swear Queenbreaker was on there, but now I do not see it on this list. All right. So I lied about Queenbreaker, but yeah, Arbalist and Choir One for sure. Yeah. On the featured exotic list for next season. There we go. We'll go with season. Weapons and armor, the rest of that not worth your time. But yeah, if nothing else, Choir of One, it'll be going into the Monuments to Lost Light, kiosk in the towers. You can buy it might not as well.
Go though. It might not go there because of the rotations. They said with the new portal that's coming that the exotic missions will probably be put into there, and there'd be a rotation of those. So it is from the exotic mission from episode Echoes. So it's really strange that they're giving it to Xur, but it is the non-craftable version, I think. So you do have to do the exotic mission to get the crafted version. Could be wrong. But they did say that in the next week, the Emissary and Xur next weekend as well will also have exotic weapons and armor pieces that will be viable in the Edge of Fate. So you've got to keep an eye on both of those for next week as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to point that out at the top of the show, as you may be hearing this as Xur is about to leave us. So yeah, if you haven't gotten it already, or if your favorite content creator hasn't already shouted at you to go buy this, yeah, you should go buy it. If for no other reason, you'll have it in your collection, you'll have it ready to go. Should it become something you want or need? And apparently, we also got a free, as I turned the game on this time for the first week this morning to go check on Xur. We also got the break free emblem apparently for slaying Obakul the Darkblade during a community Nightfall week. Yes. As a reward for participation, the break free emblem can be found in your collections under Flare, Emblems, and General. So I'm going to assume that popped up sometime earlier this week for those of you who got to get on and play. But if not, that's available in your collection for doing that. So if you adding to your ongoing collection of emblems, now you have another one.
Yeah, so it was the Encore mission, the exotic mission of episode Echoes, was the one that you could get the Choir of One, which you can still acquire the Choir of One and get its catalysts in there. So, and they did say that was the other thing, wasn't it, with the Choir of One? If you pick it up from Xur this weekend, all the expansions are going to be free for a week before the Edge of Fate. Is it in the TWAB?
They did put it in the TWAB, yes. Yeah, Destiny 2 expansion of open access. So starting July 8th. So starting Tuesday. So basically, as you hear my voice, or tomorrow as you hear my voice, until July 22nd. So
okay, so it's even after. Wow.
Yeah, which caused some confusion to some people. Yeah, so basically, starting next week until the week after Edge of Fate, all currently available Destiny 2 expansions will be available for free on all supported platforms. PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Microsoft Store, and Epic Game Store. Additionally, all 3 currently available episodes will also be free for all supported platforms until July 15th. Because the current episodes go away with the Edge of Fate. So you have 1 week to play, basically the game as it is today, and then 1 week to play the game without the episodic content after that. Now, obviously, you're not going to get all of the Edge of Fate stuff because you would have to buy the Edge of Fate for that.
Yeah,
but yeah, you'll be able to see all of those things, and as the cherry on top, you're saying, well, why would I do this if it's all going to go away? All of the currencies, gear, title, triumphs, and cosmetics earned during the open access period are yours to keep. So again, if you have a friend you've been trying to get into the game or back into the game, or just saying, hey, I really want to pick this up on whatever, I played on PlayStation back in the day, but I really want to play on PC now, but I don't have to buy everything to start with. This is your entry point. You've got 2 weeks to grind your face off. All the things you earn, you can keep. So then when you do throw down the Edge of Fate or whatever, then you'll be ready to go. You can hit the ground running.
So that means that you have access to raids, dungeons. You have access to like the episodes, and that means that you can go and get these exotics and armor pieces that you wouldn't necessarily be able to have access to after the event. So it's a really good thing. So if you can get in there and get some stuff,
it's a nice little free for all.
It is indeed.
Go play, get all the good loot. Or get your friends in there going, hey, come play this with me. This is your first taste. This may start an 8-year addiction to this game, or it may not. Only one way to find out.
Yeah. Speaking of addiction, I've still got so many things that I need to do. I still need to do the Kel's Vengeance mission to get my episode Revenant title. Was it Echoes? It's one of the ones that I'm still missing. Then that I need to do that. I think I've given up on the little gems that we were collecting in episode Echoes from doing the various different missions and smashing the hammers into the ground and going collecting the little plants that suddenly pop up. I'm like, I've missed out on 2 of those and I can't get them. I've tried running them through and over again recently because I thought maybe they've increased it, but no, it's like I'm not getting anything exotic or I think legendary or whatever they were that I needed to kind of round that out to get. I think it's an exotic ghost from collecting all of those. So I'm really gutted that I'm going to probably miss out on getting that again due to RNG.
Yeah. I'm still missing, I think, 1 plant, and I'm still missing 1 of the tonics. That again, like every week when I log on after I've sort of right before the weekly reset, I'll go and just toss all of the basically it's one of the tonics that it's a random chance for it to drop. So I'll just go and I'll spend a whole bunch of currency, make a whole bunch of tonics in that same group of where the missing tonic is, and just say, let me see if maybe it will drop for me, and cannot get it to drop. I've looked it up, going, it's. I know which tonic it is. It's this. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I looked it up. It's like this particular one. It's a random chance. There isn't like go make enough of these tonics and it'll unlock that. It's just it has to randomly unlock for you. And I've made piles and piles of tonics, just never the right one to drop. So that I've just let go, and that of course is blocking me from finishing a little bit of the Act 3 stuff because you have to have all your tonics done to unlock one of the things to do for Act 3 to finish that up from Ido. And I'm like, I'm just not going to worry about it at this point. If I'm just stuck behind the RNG gate, I'm not going to sit here and just try to beat my head against the wall for this. The only thing I am trying to do is I need 2 more weekly challenges to get my large pile of Bright Dust. I'm at 106 and 108. So I just need to go do, spend some time on somewhere, go run some Court of Blades to get those last 2 done.
Oh God, I haven't even checked that yet.
That's my one goal for the. And that's my goal for the end thing because I've bought a bunch of cosmetic stuff as we've been going into Edge of Fate. Going, oh, that's pretty. I need that ornament. There was a Syntheseps ornament that I bought recently, and
that was this week, wasn't it? The metal one,
Vow or something. That I was like, oh, that's pretty. I'm buying that. So and I have to make sure the fashion game is on point going into the new content. But yeah, I know I don't have the time to really sit and devote to grinding too much other stuff. So I said, let me just see what I can do and see if I can maybe get a chance at getting this last tonic to drop, which knowing my luck, it'll drop like the last day or something. And then it'll be like, great, now go do the thing on the EDZ or whatever Ida wants me to do, and I will have run out of time. But you do what you can do. Yeah,
I've got 16 challenges to do before I do that. So I've got that to worry about, and then all the other little things, and then still keep doing the Nonary manifolds to make sure that I get all my 20 that I can buy.
I need to do all of that.
I'm also confused because I did I swear I wasn't going stupid when I was reading the TWABs and going over the stuff with the nonary manifolds and the nonary engrams. And they did say that the nonary engrams would be earnable. And I thought maybe if it's you do a full run of the dungeon, you get one. But I haven't seen them earnable as yet, or I haven't earned any of them. I can buy them and I can log in next week and get them daily. But I thought maybe they're a random thing and I just don't know about it yet. So haven't done enough dungeons.
Yeah,
In the order that they said that I should be doing.
right. It's so hard to keep track of what am I doing something wrong? Am I misreading it? Is it just not working? And it's just so hard to tell what the difference is. Which piece of this is not connecting properly.
Yeah, I mean, it says in the 19th of June TWAB, it says from July 1st until the 15th, players can earn nonary engrams. So how am I earning them? I mean, It says players may purchase nonary engrams using 350 nonary manifolds up to 20. So that's what I'm kind of doing. And then you'll be awarded an additional nonary engram each day for signing in for this week coming up. So I'm like, so what am I doing or not doing to earn them? I want to earn them as well. I want to get as much of the stuff that I've missed from Eververse as possible. That eludes me at the moment.
Right. Well, should we get into? I know Bungie sort of buried this at the end because everyone's sitting here going, okay, it's the 5th of July as we record this. That's 10 days, really 9 days if we're being honest. Because the 14th, I wouldn't trust that as a day to go play very much with the inevitable downtime that's coming. So you've got a little over a week to go finish up. And just trying to figure out what should I be doing? And everyone has their list of here's the bounties I want to hoard. Here's my bright dust I'm trying to earn. Here's the quest I'm trying to finish up. So just to give you an idea, what's going away at the end of basically at the start of year 8, which is Edge of Fate. So Bungie put a link at the very bottom of the TWAB to the items being deprecated at the start of year 8. So I figure we'll touch on those because that's the question everybody wants to know is what's going away. Tell me very clearly what's not going to be here anymore come that time. So there's things going to the content vault, which basically the content vault is the game's grown too big, we have to put things away, otherwise the game becomes 300 gigs and it takes forever to download and forever to manage, and you can't possibly balance all of it, which is a whole new group of people are now finding out about the content vault and being unhappy about it, which I mean I get it, rightfully so. It's been a thing since 2022. Bungie announced that the expansion would no longer, in 2022 they said that things would no longer be vaulted, just the seasonal content. So that always brings up the question: well, what's seasonal content versus expansion? Because with Edge of Fate, things will drop all at the same time, and you're going, which things are which. So this will give you sort of an idea of what's going away. We've got the big list of things, then Bungie has put together the specific list of things. So destinations going away in Edge of Fate. So the last city, all of it. So Helm, Market District, the jail, the Tonic Laboratory, Varys' Core, Eris' Flat, and the Noiseless Chantry all go away. Also Eternity with the 9 realm. So basically, the Rite of the 9 space where you go and you pick up, you're trying to earn your nonary manifolds, that all goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Your seasonal narrative, so your Arena Breach executable, the Enigma Protocol, both the Tomb and Contest of Elders, Kel's Vengeance, the Nether, Horde of Blades, the arenas of Something Left to Say and Captive Memories, your quest missions, Meteoric Shell, Espial, Reke, and Captus. Basically, all the things you did in episodes, essentially, all goes away. They do say that some of these activities may be re-added to the portal during later releases, so leaving the door open to bring, some of these things back. And then the following exotic quests will no longer be available to complete, and all quest progress will be removed from your inventory. Weapons earned from these quests may continue to be earnable in-game, through a different thing. They do tend to throw these weapons into...
or bring back the exotic missions. Yeah.
Right, yeah, bring back the missions or throw them in the Kiosk of Lost Light at some point. So your Rising Chorus Act 3 gets you your Choir of One exotic auto rifle. So go to the mission or buy it from Xur before the 15th. Act 3 Kell of Kells gets you your Slayer's Fang shotgun. And the Taken Path gives you the Barodiad submachine gun. So that's all going to be unavailable come July 15th. So do those finish those up, because if you're in progress, all that progress gets wiped. You have to have the work done, have the catalyst done, or that's it. Your Act 3 key field work, your spectroscopic shell, and your apothecary item rank 16 old ranker sparrow. If you've been trying to get those also go away. The triumph rewards, museum curator gives you the semitone shift ship. The maximum extraction gives you the crawlway sink sparrow. Your boon ghost mod collector gives you the coronation shell, and your crossed blades gives you the Charon's toll sparrow. Again, all going away. And finally, your vendors, basically, failsafe in the helm, apothecary Ido in the tonic laboratory, your tonic table, the shaping slab of ambition and resolve in Eris's flat, and the emissary in the Nine Realm. So all of those people, places, missions are going away. But if you're going, but I need more. Tell me more. What items are being deprecated at the start of Year 8, Edge of Fate? Sometimes it would be nice if Bungie said, this is starting at Edge of Fate. And they do in the article say, with the start of Year 8 in Destiny, July 15th, 2025, certain items will be deprecated from player inventories. And again, this was linked in the TWAB sort of toward the bottom in a line of like, hey, by the way, this is the stuff that's going away. We wrote all these articles about it. You just have to have read the whole TWAB to find them. So again, all those things, basically all the bounties, missions, quest, exotic, seasonal heirlooms, and artifacts from Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy, and the Red of the Nine all go away. Basically all those things I just listed from the other article. All your ritual and pinnacle weapons associated with ornaments from the tower vendors. So the gear will become available in the Monument to Lost Lights exotic archive. But if you haven't, ranked up all three of your, you haven't ranked up your tower vendors on those tracks to get those weapons and ornaments, that'll be your last chance.
Mm-hmm.
Your destination materials. So while these haven't dropped since the Witch Queen, they can be safely dismantled because you won't need them anymore. They're not going to be good for anything. The materials, however, will not be automatically removed from inventories, which has made some people cranky because some folks out there have a lot of these destination materials and just want Bungie to tell us, can I delete the whole stack then? Do I have to delete these one by one? So destination materials all go away. Your upgrade modules may still drop from older content, but we'll get into that more in this TWAB, but they can be safely dismantled for resources when Year 8 begins because they're basically deprecating upgrade modules. We'll have a new module now, is basically how that's going to work. All your tower vendor reputation tracks, so all your currencies and reward on that, reputation track that you were going from 0 to 16 to reset, they're basically going to take those rewards and put them back into completions of activities through the portal. So instead of, playing things and then going to the track to get your reward, it'll drop from the end of the activity, which I feel like, is more rewarding. Your ritual activity engrams, Trials of Osiris, and gunsmith bounties, gunsmith engrams, and ghost mods all going away. The armor focusing mods with the old armor stats are going to be replaced with new armor mods with the new armor stats, so no reason to keep those around. Your Prism Harvest, your Modularity, your Prosperity activity mods, your Episode Heresy minor boons, your Planetary Piston hammers, your Tonic Capsule and all tonic variations, your Tomb of Wanton Scriptures, your Metastasized Essentia, the Essence of Desire, the Sigil Charge, the Cure of the Nine, and your Nonary Manifolds that you're currently grinding your face off for, all get taken away, are all deprecated starting July 15th. So yeah, that's all the things that are going away, and they go into a little more detail in this TWAB with some of those items, but that's the big list that everybody always wants to know. What's going away? What won't be here anymore? What do I need to play before the new content comes out, or I won't have a chance?
We do have an easier way. We do have a This Week in Destiny that I could put in here for you to listen to. And if you're on YouTube, you get to watch with pictures.
Ooh, I like pictures.
Yeah. Flashing pictures, moving pictures, exciting pictures. All the pictures. This is your rundown for the final week of Episode Heresy, Week 23, starting on July 8th. The limited time event, Rite of the Nine, concludes this week, which sees all dungeons available to play at any time on any difficulty. This week also sees the Lootapalooza, which increases all weapon drops and currency rewards across all dungeons, encounters, and enemies, as well as increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters in any dungeon. This week will also see increased holofoil weapons from the Rite of the Nine, and increased heretical weapons from the Nether and Court of Blades. Nonary Engrams will also be earnable in the Rite of the Nine. Plus, you can purchase additional ones using 350 Nonary manifolds at the Emissary. These engrams are filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. Some are newer like collar chips, and others are a blast from the past like Crimson Day emotes. And if you log in every day from Reset up until the Edge of Fate releases, you can grab a free daily Nonary Engram from the Emissary. Don't forget, the Emissary also has a selection of exotic weapons that are available to anyone missing them from their collections. With us only being days away from the new expansion, this is your final reminder of what's going away next week when the Edge of Fate releases on July 15th. Starting with the 10th Anniversary Seal and Title, Moments of Triumph 2024 Seal and Title, Act 3 of Heresy's Unknown Antechamber Chess Puzzle and Rewards, Act 2's activity the Court of Blades, Act 1's activity the Nether with its 3 modes, Exploration, Advanced, and Expert. From Act 3 of Revenant the exotic mission Kel's Fall, where you can earn the Void exotic shotgun Slayer's Fang, and Prison of Elders challenge Kel's Vengeance. Act 2 of Episode Revenant's Tomb of Elders, and Contest of Elders. Act 1 of Episode Revenant's Onslaught Salvation, which has new defences, 3 maps that are not in the Vanguard playlist version, and new enemies to fight. In the Last City on the Helm, Episode Echoes 3 Battleground activities, Delve, Conduit, and Core, with Enigma Protocol and Breach Executable. Episode Echoes Exotic Mission Encore, where you can earn the Void Exotic Auto Rifle Choir of One, and the Grandmaster Nightfall node, which gives Guardians the opportunity to complete their Conquest Seal for this episode, some of which are now not available. Warden of Nothing on the Dreaming City, Sunless Cell on the Dreadnought, Insight Terminus on Nessus, Psyops Battlegrounds Moon, Lake of Shadows on the EDZ, Scarlet Keep on the Moon, Hypernet Current on Europa, Heist Battlegrounds Mars, and the Psyops Battlegrounds Cosmodrome. You also have one more week to finalise your prep for the Edge of Fate. This includes holding completed vendor bounties that can carry over to the next expansion for XP and artifact progression. Also, don't forget to collect all of your episode Heresy pass items. Any items left over from episode Revenants pass on Bungie.net, plus your reward track items and engrams from Failsafe for episode Echoes, Ido for episode Revenant, and both shaping slabs for episode Heresy. Also, Banshee 44 Gunsmith, Shax, Crucible, Zavala, Vanguard, Drifter, Gambit, Saint 14, Trials, Rahul, Cryptarch, Hawthorne, Clan, and Xur at the weekend before the end of the episode, as they will reset and you will lose all items when the new expansion begins. And if you haven't collected your free curated weapons from episode Revenant at the Gunsmith, now would be a good time to collect those. The Vanguard Onslaught featured up this week will be Midtown, with the Field Razor Tormentor kicking off the boss rotation. The Expert Battlegrounds will start this week's rotation with Delve. The Dreaming City this week is at a strong curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in Ria Silvia and has the Dark Monastery mission for the next week. The Blindwell features Taken Enemies and the Plague Oinamina. The Ascendant Challenge will be the Keep of Honed Edges over in the Harbinger Seclude. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is in the Deep. The Trove Guardian is located in the Hellmouth, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare of Hawkis in the Anchor of Light. Nightmare hunts Scolas, Pride, Fanatic, Insanity, and Omnigul Anguish. The Altars of Sorrow will start this week's rotation with the Nightmare of Fogoth and the Blasphemer Shotgun. On Europa this week, Praxisi Technocrat will be the Empire Hunt, Cadmus Ridge will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Safeguard. Days of Eternity Expert difficulty rounds are Hive, Vex, and Valister Arc. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Pathfinder armor set will be available in Days of Eternity with Weapon Set 4. Fractithis, Chrysia Amilo, Volpicula, Wolftone Draw, Iotona Draconis, Canis Major, Contingency Plan, Legal Action 2, Outrageous Fortune, Steel Syllabus C14, and Spoiler Alert. The Witch Queen Weekly Story Mission is the Communion, Altar of Reflections Catalyst, and Altar of Reflections Insight. The Wellspring activity will start the week on attack, with the Arc Auto Rifle come to pass and Goldmag Hive Ogre as the boss. The Lightfall Weekly Mission is Breakneck, the Partition Mission will be Hard Reset, and the Vex Incursion will be Liming Harbour. In the Pale Heart, the exotic mission Dual Destiny is still available for teams of 2 Guardians, where you can farm the mission to earn as many new prismatic exotic class items as you like. The Final Shakes Cooperative Focus Campaign mission this week will be Ascent. The 12 Guardian Matchmade Excision mission is also available next to the race for a weekly pinnacle, with the Grandmaster version granting the Ergo Sum Catalyst and an Ascendant Shard. Also available for a weekly pinnacle is the Salvation's Edge raid, over in the Pale Heart, and new dungeon Sundered Doctrine, which can be found over on the Throne World, with the exotic Linear Fusion Rifle Finalities Ager up for grabs, and a whole suite of new weapons and armour. Just make sure to visit Icor over in the tower to pick up the quest Drowning Labyrinth to enter. The Salvation's Edge raid challenge this week is the 5th encounter, Zenith, called Coordinated Efforts. The Kingsfall raid challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, War Priest, called Devious Thievery. The Vow the Disciple challenge this week is the 1st encounter, Acquisition, called Swift Destruction. The Vault of Glass challenge this week is the 3rd encounter, Templar, called Out of Its Way. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the 3rd encounter, Consecrated Mine, called Staying Alive. And the Last Wish challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, Shirochi, called Witch Witch. Featured Pinnacle Raid 1 will be Root of Nightmares over on Neptune, and featured Pinnacle Raid 2 will be the Deepstone Crypt over on Europa, with all challenges available for all encounters, with the exotic shotgun conditional finality being farmable from the final boss in Nightmares, and the exotic rocket launcher Eyes of Tomorrow from the final boss in Crypt. Featured Pinnacle Dungeon 1 will be the Shattered Throne over on the Dreaming City, and featured Pinnacle Dungeon 2 will be Duality over on the Derelict Leviathan on the Moon, with the Heart Shadow Sword as the dungeon exotic. The exotic mission rotator will be Node Override Avalon, with Excalibur Exotic Glaive being the main reward, and the Season of the Defiance weapon set. The exotic missions, the Whisper and Zero Hour, will also be available in the Legends tab. We have now had all of episode Heresy's challenges over the first 16 weeks of the episode. So, as a reminder, if you complete 108 out of 112, you can get a large pile of Bright Dust to spend at the Eververse store in-game. Lost Sectors, Tuesday Affiliates Rest on the Dreaming City, Wednesday Chamber of Starlight on the Dreaming City, Thursday Hydroponics Delta on Neptune, Friday Gilded Precept on Neptune, Saturday Thrillerdrome on Neptune, Sunday The Broken Deep in the Pale Heart, and Monday The Blooming Deep in the Pale Heart. The Grandmaster Nightfalls continue this week with our 23rd featured Nightfall, which should see us face off against Korosek, Thronebringer in the Psyops Battlegrounds Moon, with the Wildstar Grenade Launcher as the featured adept weapon. The 6v6 playlist will be Control. The 6v6 quick play mode should be Supremacy. Slow Collision should be in the small team's quick play, and Hardware Mix could also be available. Plus, Trials of Osiris at the weekend, with the Aisha's Care Pulse Rifle as the featured adept weapon. And as this is the final week, we should see all bonuses available across all game modes all week long. Don't forget to collect your free 700 Bright Dust from the Eververse store each week up until the Edge of Fate begins. And don't forget to keep an eye on Zer this Friday at Reset to see if he's offering another chance to grab a random rolled exotic class item for 41 strange coins. And that's it for the final week of the Final Shape episode Heresy.
Pictures.
Yeah, those are all the moving pictures with the words and telling you all the things that are going away and where you could earn things. So go and check those things out, especially if you've got your free week. Got nothing to lose, basically. Go and do those 3 exotic missions, get those exotics, and you'll be laughing. Maybe not laughing too hard because some of those missions were a little bit grindy. And I think you did have to do all of the episode stuff to get to unlock the exotic mission. But, you know, Baradide's really good. Choir of One's really good. Maybe the shotgun will be really good at some point. Maybe. Who knows? It does things. It's, it's interesting.
Yeah, reading those lists last night, the shotgun, I was like, I didn't even remember that existed. Baradai and Choir of One, yeah, good weapons, enjoyed them. Did not even remember Slayer's Fang was a thing.
Something that they did sneak into a tweet, I believe it was yesterday, which I have included in This Week in Destiny because I'm on top of these things, is that the holofoil weapons and the heretical weapons are also going to be boosted next week when we have our Lootapalooza. So if you're missing, they didn't say the heretical weapons, the adept versions, but I'm guessing the adept versions, if you do the harder content, will also be part of the Lootapalooza. So you still have those if you want to kind of grind for those in Court of Blades and Nether. And then, you know, our holofoil ones go to town in Rite of the Nine next week. All shinies.
I need to get in there and get some shinies. Get some beautiful new things.
So what would you like to tackle first? Would you like to go through This Week in Destiny, or should we go numerically and do our dev insight that was given to us on the 2nd of July?
I don't know, I feel like the dev insight didn't offer a whole lot of new dev insight, so we can probably knock that one out fairly quickly.
Okay, these will be linked in the show notes if anybody's interested to actually have a look at these, because they do come with some interesting pictures as well.
Yeah. Lots of pictures which are not great for the podcast medium. But yeah, our dev insights, weapons, and gear tiering from July 2nd. But yeah, and they do show you each of the 5 tiers in this article. So if you're going, hey, I've heard about what these things look like, how will they be different? They have pretty pictures for you. You should go check it out.
Yeah, we did go over the weapon tiers, I believe it was last week or the week before that, and go over what you're going to get with tier 1 weapons all the way up to tier 5. But basically, tier 1 weapons will be your base weapon that you can use with the new seasonal mods once acquired. Tier 2 will have enhanced traits. Tier 3 will drop with 2 traits per column. Tier 4 will be enhanced mods including seasonal, enhanced weapon components like barrels and mags. And Tier 5 will be enhanced origin traits, 3 traits per column, and access to unique ornaments with unique shaders and unique combat flair. So that's what they are. And it does give you a picture of the Giver's Blessing, which is an auto rifle, and it shows you picture by picture of what you kind of can expect for each upgrade. going up to the top tier ones. And the interesting thing is, and I think we've got this in the TWAB as well, is the new seasonal mods. So seasonal mods were introduced in episode 3 Heresy, and they want to expand their role to be available on all weapons within the season, not just specific sets. So basically with episode Heresy, we got weapon mods that are deprecated at the end of Heresy. But if you go and get a weapon from episode Heresy, like the heretical weapons, in the drop-down mod box, you can select various different mods. And I don't know if I can pull them up here on Destiny Item Manager, if I can find a heretical weapon to go through. I think I can. So here we are. We have things like, so Will Breaker's munitions increase the weapon's damage versus dread and taken targets. This weapon is overcharged when the modifier is active. There was another one, Armaments of Resolve, increased aim assistance and recoil direction. This weapon is also overcharged when that modifier is active. And there was another one, wasn't there? Power of Resolve. Rapid hits with this weapon emit a taken seeker projectile, strong against unstoppable champions, and this weapon is overcharged when that modifier is active. So you'll be able to obtain the Edge of Fate weapons, and you'll be able to acquire the following mods via exploring Keplar and completing portal activities. So we have Temporal Loader. This weapon loads ammunition from reserves when dealing damage to targets that are slowed, frozen, or suspended. Temporal Tracker. Gain bonus aim assistance or projectile tracking for a moderate duration after picking up an orb of power. Temporal Adapter. Readying this weapon grants its bonus stability, handling, and reload speed for a moderate duration. This is borrowed from an alternate timeline version of this weapon, and swords gain bonus charge rate and guard resistance.
Which a bunch of people have asked about that, alternate timeline version of the weapon, and Bungie just replied to people going, "You'll see." So we're right back in another no time to explain what I have no time to explain situation.
Yeah. Or it was just a line that they wrote to just give it that extra thing, and then they were like, "Oh God, we've now created this whole thing."
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what it is.
That means.
Yeah. Temporal Armaments. This weapon gains bonus damage versus Cabal and Vex targets. And Temporal Blast. This weapon stores a portion of its damage dealt into charges. At 5 charges, the weapon's next shot creates an explosive blast on impact that damages nearby enemies. So basically Firefly, but bigger, maybe.
Bigger, better. Explodier.
So there you go. More mods coming, and you can put them on your weapons.
Yep.
Don't know how long they're going to be available for.
Yeah, and then like I say, then they've got got our 5 examples of our weapons at the different tier, and basically, the weapon looks the same. It just has that little like flag in the corner. Now it'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 little diamonds on it, and then the tier 5 blue one will be blue, or the tier 5 one will be the weapon will have that blue look, blue ornament, blue look to it, and obviously you get all the extra mod slots, extra perks, extra everything, which we've already talked about many times over. So if you want details, listen to the last 2 weeks, and we've already covered all the things they've told us about.
But are you wondering how you earn these? Or how do you obtain higher gear?
Yeah, I always want higher gear. How do I obtain this higher gear?
Well, apparently you'll begin your journey on Keplar, earning tier 1 gear. With a focus on gaining power, you'll earn new weapons and slowly begin to find occasional tier 2 gear as you unravel Keplar's mysteries. On completion of major accomplishments or raising your seasonal power, you'll earn permanent upgrades to Keplar's reward tiers. And across Keplar, gear can be acquired via chests, by exploring and uncovering secrets, playing campaign missions, and by focusing engrams with local resources. Once the campaign is completed, new difficulties will be unlocked for replay access, higher gear tiers, and post-campaign activities will appear from time to time, providing even more Keplar loot whilst it lasts.
Yeah, like the world tiers we're getting with Keplar, I'm curious to sort of explore, because Keplar is again going to be the first place that's only accessible through the portal, and just sort of understanding, am I gonna, is it going to be a place I zone into? Is it going to be different activities I'm sort of zoning into when I go there? I'm a little curious just to sort of see how Keplar how to interact with Keplar, basically. So there's going to be this new place, a new thing. The missions obviously mission feel easy enough to understand and get into, but is it it's going to have spaces for me to run around in. It's just getting to it in a different way is, I don't know. I have lots of questions about just how exactly this is all going to work, and how those world tiers are. Am I going to be running the same content over and over again for the higher world?
You are, but it's going to be different because apparently through the portal there's going to be things that you can change your modifiers and up the difficulty, and then with that you'll acquire pinnacle tiered rewards, and also the raid. The raid, you'll be able to acquire pinnacle tiered rewards from that as well. But everyone's going to be aiming for that tier 5 armor and weapons. But then, like we discovered last week, it's like it's a bit upsetting that we know it's going to be reset in December when we get Renegades. It's like, okay, how will that keep us kind of going? Do we all? Is everybody going to be striving for tier 5 gear in the first part of the season, and then by the time we get to Renegades, it's like, well, I did that back then. Do I really want to kind of do it now? Who knows?
Yeah, that's a question that we all, I think, are all sort of asking. Just what is this going to look like? What is this loop going to be once we do it? Once we go around this once with Edge of Fate and Iron and Ash drop, then we get Renegades. Are we doing? Are we doing the same thing over again? Is this different things we're doing? Yeah, just a lot of questions about all. With all of the systems changing, what does that gameplay look like?
I mean, ultimately, everybody wants tier 5 gear because you don't want to kind of rock into a raid or rock into Crucible and face people on the other team with like tier 5 and you've only been able to get tier 3, because they do have an advantage. Those extra tiers of weapons and armor will carry some advantage over you. And whether they're a godly player or they're just an average player with just a bit of an advantage, it does make people want to get the tier 5. But then, can you get the tier 5 easily enough, or is it locked behind extreme kind of walls of pain and suffering to get there, kind of thing? I mean, they do say some people will be aiming for God roll tier 5 armor and weapons, and then others will be targeting tier 3 rewards. So, but the tier 3 are similar to the old adept weapons in terms of power and perk availabilities. So everybody wants to go beyond that. If it's available, everybody wants it. Whether it's going to be achievable is another thing.
That's the question we're all asking ourselves. No Destiny player wants to say, I would just like some of the gear, please. Give me some decent gear. I would like some, mid-level decent gear. No, everybody wants to get the best things available to them. Is the time and effort you're going to put in to get that, hot peak gear going to be rewarded going forward? Or is it, I think again, just needing to understand what kind of system are we playing? And, how does this, this is all fine and shiny and new for now, but next season, next expansion, next whatever, how does this all play out?
Yeah.
Which
it does kind of go back to the old Destiny 1 days of being Forever 29, and you had to do the raid to get that higher tier stuff, which gave more people more incentive to go and do the raid. So maybe if it's like that it does incentivize people to do like a raid. I mean, let's face it, the raids are hard, but they're not a Grandmaster, like one shot kind of thing. You work as a team of 6. It is a little bit different from doing like a Grandmaster Nightfall.
Right. Yeah. The raids again, I've always felt like were more of a time commitment than a skill commitment necessarily. Again, because there's always people out there. There's always people looking to teach and looking to help and share and to help get you through things. It's just, is that the way forward? Is that what you're going to have to do to get the highest tier stuff?
Yeah. So that was your dev insight this week, just breaking that down a little bit more, easier to understand with the pictures for anybody that's interested. But we do have a TWAB this week, This Week in Destiny, or This Week at Bungie. I can't remember what we're calling it. Is it This Week at Bungie? Yeah, still going to go with the This Week at Bungie.
A TWAB. It's always a TWAB. It'll always be a TWAB.
Especially since Marathon doesn't exist yet.
Until that other game is real, it's still a TWAB.
Yeah. For the 3rd of July. So they did manage to push out their huge TWAB the day before you had a big celebration. So well done to those guys. But covering the TWAB this week, they had a live stream on Tuesday, don't you know? Right of the 9 challenges that are coming up. The announcement of the world's first race for the race. GCX is coming. Keplar restricted brief. Weapons, power and economy updates. The open access we've already covered. And Bungie Day is almost here. So did you all watch the live stream? Because they said thank you for watching the live stream. I did watch the live stream, but it was after the live stream on YouTube. So again, I missed out on the lovely Emblem. Very upset. But they didn't say that we're having another live stream. So no more live streams. That's it. You've had your 2, done and dusted. No more. So if you didn't watch them, go watch them because they covered a lot. So they went through like side quests that you can unlock after completing the main campaign. They went through the Matter Ball. They went through a 3-player activity and showed you the new destination and showed you the portal and the gear tiers and going over setting up how you want to kind of play the game with modifiers and giving yourself buffs as well. So that was quite good. But then they did break the game, or they soft locked themselves out of the mission that they were actually in, which was quite funny.
I was watching the live stream again. I came in a little late, and I was again just trying to do this in multitask.
Hmm.
And it just, I don't know. Did they cover all that much? I sort of want to ask. Like they certainly covered things, but was there a lot new there? That I mean, I know they talked a lot about the modifiers and a lot about how we're going to interact. Which I think it was a 5 of cards we had before. I went back trying to remember the name of the thing we would use on the Nightfalls, where you would pull up this card. I think that Zer sold. And you would sort of say, like, hey, basically, here's the modifiers I want to select. I want to turn this modifier on or turn this down. I want to make it more difficult in this way. And you could sort of make the Nightfall easier or harder, again, depending on what level of gear you were going for. And so this feels very reminiscent of that. Not to say that I'm not sitting here screaming, oh, reuse content, blah, blah, whatever. It's just, hey, this is a system that if you played the game long enough, this system feels familiar. So I mean, I do understand. I appreciate them giving us details and explaining how this is going to work. But I'm also like, I sort of know how this is going to work. Like, make things harder, make things easier. Great, got it. Let me get my hands on it and experience it.
It reminds me of when Xbox One first launched and they said you need to have your console on all the time because you'll only be able to play online games, blah, 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 blah. And everybody kicked off and they had to do that whole kind of, oh no, we're going to back off of that. What have we got now? Literally what Xbox One kind of set out to be doing, always having your console on, being able to play online games and download games. So it just seems very similar to that. It's like, well, we started with the 5 of cards. People didn't like it, but we're going to put it in a portal system where you can pick and choose what you want to kind of do and give yourself buffs or debuffs. And we'll see how that goes. We'll try it again. And hopefully we've moved down the line enough years that people go, oh, this is quite good.
Yeah.
So it just made me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, and I think to a degree, this is what people have been asking for, again, like, in Dungeons and Raids and other activities going, let me, if the idea is a looter shooter, let me play this over and over and over again, then give me a way to make it harder. Give me a way to make it easier. Not just the, how long have people been asking for contest mode? Not during the first week, hey, let me turn contest mode on. Give me that an option. And that's sort of what they've done with the Grandmasters. Instead of there being a Grandmaster, node you'd go into, there is a Grandmaster setting. I can go do anything at this Grandmaster difficulty. So, sort of give the community what they want, but also, it's like something we've tried in the past. I'm looking back in 2018 or something with probably rose tinge glasses, but I remember enjoying that level of control where you really could say, hey, I've got a team, let's go dial this Nightfall up and run it as hard as we can and see what we get. Or hey, I really just I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to make this bar go up to get my ornament for this weapon at the end of the season. Let me just run some Nightfalls. I just want them to be chill. I'm not trying, I don't care about the loot drops necessarily. I'm just trying to get, completions or just hanging out with a friend, catching up on the week and just to do something that, I'm not trying to get anything incredible out of this. I just am trying to hang out and play games. So just having that knob, you could turn either direction. Because I know everyone thinks about, I want to make this harder. I want the best loot possible. Sometimes you're just like, hey, I just want to turn things down and just hang out. But play content that feels somewhat meaningful, but I just want to hang out and not be so stressed about what I'm doing. So I like that knob.
Yeah, comparing it to Gears of War at the moment, playing Gears of War like doing Horde mode, you sometimes the game will give you a set of different kind of buffs and debuffs, and depending on how many turn on, will kind of give you at the end of the day, say, right, you get all of these rewards. But sometimes the game will give you buffs, more buffs than it will give you debuffs. And those days are really cool to play the game or play the Horde mode on, because you get like 3 buffs and like 2 debuffs. And it ramps up the difficulty because you've put on these modifiers, but it helps you in that way of like, oh, okay, there's more buffs, but it still gives you the good rewards for it. But looking at the kind of portal, it does knock you down if you do put on buffs, more buffs than you do debuffs. I think that's something that they could look into, is that like maybe sometimes, like we have at the moment with the Rite of the Nine, where they've put the modifier on that brings back your super really quickly, that's going to be active for the rest of this week and all of the last week, the Lootapalooza week. And I think that's just in the regular versions of the Rite of the Nine. But things like that.
The Daybreak. I think that's the Daybreak modifier they put in the Explorer version. Yeah, which they just, I think this was another thing they didn't mention. They were just like, hey, by the way, you're going to have this now. Enjoy.
Yeah. But yeah, just to kind of sometimes put a really good modifier in and not have it be negative, which would be quite nice. So maybe think about that, Bungie, as like just on selective weeks, when we had like our bonus XP weeks and things, maybe throw us in a Daybreak modifier week where it doesn't affect any of your debuffs. So it gives people more of a chance to go in there and play and enjoy playing. It's still hard, but you've given them that little bit of an advantage that doesn't have a negative impact on their rewards. Just throwing it out there, just as an idea, possibly, because Gears of War do it, and it's really good. I enjoy doing that.
Give us Mayhem versions of things. Give me the Mayhem Nightfall, and make it a we're doing the Destiny Tracker speed run challenge thing. We'll get to here in the TWAB. If you want to make it, make a little fun event out of it. Say, hey, how fast can you blow through this Nightfall using supers? Or hey, here's an abilities only version of the Nightfalls. We're gonna ramp all your abilities up to 11, ramp all your supers up, go ham. How fast can you knock these out at the highest difficulties, not using weapons, just using your abilities? Give us versions of this game. Give us new ways to play the same thing.
So this week's live stream, we had a look at the portal, had a look at some of the activities that are available from Onslaught to the Coil. There was a big pool of modifiers that they kind of explained a few of those as we kind of went through, and what you kind of do to add those onto whatever you're playing to give you rewards, and how that kind of works with putting buffs and debuffs on, making it kind of more personalized for you to play. As Peroty said, if you just want to kind of rock in there and just enjoy what you're doing, or you want to kind of go in there and get this tier 3 or up to tier 4 with, depending on how you're standing with your gear at that current time, that's what you can kind of do. They also go over the solo ops, the fireteam ops, crucible ops, pinnacle ops, and the exotic missions and their unique rewards. So there's a lot that went on in that stream, even though I think we'd kind of seen some of the stuff before. I mean, the live stream did give us a little bit more of a clarification on what we'd seen from the content creators.
It's this. I don't know. I've struggled with this rollout a little bit because it feels very disjointed.
Yeah,
it's not really clear if I should be watching. I mean, obviously Bungie's like, yeah, watch everything. Watch everything we're doing. Get your emblems and things. But just like from a trying to cover the game perspective and trying to share what we know with people, it's been hard to sort of know, should I watch this hour-long stream, or is it basically you're going to tell me everything you've already told me in the TWABs, and that the creators have already told me, maybe a little more succinctly, but basically, is there anything new to gain from this, or is it just you're going to tell me what you told me? Which, while fine, because again, everyone comes to this game differently. Everybody hears things from their buddy or their creator of choice or whatever. So I mean, I do appreciate that there is a official Bungie method of getting all this information out, where they say, hey, we're doing a live stream, this is coming straight from us. But it just sort of feels like, okay, you told me this already, I know all of this, I'm excited, let me go play it now.
Yeah. So if you weren't aware, we are all being reset back to 10 power. So I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, I'm guessing, so I don't know how it's going to work. It's going to work with like everything in your vault, everything on your person, that will just be reset to 10 light. And then from there, we kind of get gear, infuse the gear that we currently have, because that's not going away, up to whatever we want, or we collect the new gear, infuse the new gear, and there's kind of new parts to kind of the infusion that we need to talk about, which, because it's unstable, because it's only going to be available for this season. So yeah, it's just, but I don't know, like I said, I was holding on to things like in the Postmaster that sometimes are untouched by Bungie's kind of blanket of, we're going to do this and get rid of this. If it's in the Postmaster, it's kind of hidden. So I don't know if you pull stuff out of the postmaster when you play the game, it then breaks the game because it's like 2010 power lights and you could just stroll into any Nightfall or whatever. I'm hoping that's not the case, sort of. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But
yeah, I mean, I know they did say, like there will be a, like a legacy power number. So, like on I think like your weapons and gear, I think it'll say, it'll show the 10 power, which I assume it's just like they've dragged all our content up, to up to 1900, then up to 2000, with each new drop. I assume it'll just, the number on everything, they're just going to reset to 10, except for those, random zeros you have maybe sitting in your vault for different things that you got when, got the drop when they were glitched, but everything's going to be 10. But they did say there will be like a legacy power, indicator on those things too, just to give us players an idea of, hey, from 10 and I go up like, I guess maybe like what this will, would have been in the old system numeric wise, or, hey, this is 10 now and this is what this means. I don't know. It's, there is some, sort of crossing between, hey, here's the numbers you're used to looking at and here's the new numbers. What does this mean type thing? So they're not totally, cutting things off, but yeah, I'm assuming just like where they push all the gear up to the new floor, they're going to now take it all down to the new to the new ceiling. It's all going to be 10.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can find great. Throw things around. It'd be nice if you could say, hey, the day before, can I see anything that I haven't used and just delete it? Just get rid of it. I don't need it. But I won't tell people how to handle their vaults. You'll do what you got to do. Even if Bungie's saying these things are safe to delete, they will have no purpose. I know people out there will hold on to things just in case, or just going, I've got room. I'll keep my tiny piece of celery, my small box of raisins, because you never know.
Yeah,
it might become important later.
Yeah, when they remember.
Yeah,
but I mean, how do you feel about the portal system? Because I'm not being funny, and I've heard a lot of other people say this. It's just, it does look confusing. I mean, I know that the system that we currently have is confusing, but it's like, okay, yeah, I've got a quick launch, as we've seen in the TWAB. There's a quick launch for the campaign because I want to get into that. But then you've got solo ops, fireteam ops, pinnacle ops, and crucible ops that you can then go and select. And it's like, well, okay, and then that has a drop-down box or a box that opens up, and then there's many more boxes, and it's like, is that too confusing? Or was that just me? That it's just, I mean, I think once we get there, it'll be kind of, you'll learn it and you'll kind of get used to it. So it's not what we're kind of used to now, but it looks more confusing than maybe it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those things where it looks like a lot, but once you're in it, it is less so. I mean, as someone who's tried to look at Fortnite's menus recently,
yeah,
my head just spun because again, I'm not living in that world. But I remember when Halo, I want to say maybe 3 came out. I mean, I feel like Halo was sort of always like its own. It felt like you would put your disc into your Xbox 360 and load up Halo OS. Like it really felt like once you started Halo, it was its own world of menus and hubs and everything else. Like it really was its own ecosystem of the game. It felt like because it had all of the all the content creation stuff and the Forge stuff and all the things you could do sort of in that Halo universe. And I think this feels to me again, reminiscent of that. Where I mean, you're loading it up and we're actually going to have a system that can tell me what to do and where to go. And the director is just adding and removing planets from basically this flat space of everything looks the same. I mean, that's what, I know we've talked in the past and, trying to play this game, even if you just come back from a week or two away and going, well, I've got 6 things flashing at me right now. I mean, like right now, if you go and look at the right of the 9 or, at the eternity space, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little icons next to that, which are basically like 3 for Ghost of the Deep, 3 for the Spire of the Watcher, 2 for Prophecy. It's like, it's like
yeah. I think that's if you haven't done your bounties or the weapon,
right?
Things.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done them, you've got all of those symbols. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But like looking at the game, so I can go over and I can say, okay, Spire of the Watcher. Okay, so I've got combatant difficulty. I can set that, but then it doesn't tell me what the symbol means. Like there's nothing on the screen that tells me what these 3 symbols are. Like what it just says Spire of the Watcher. Like it's the same symbol that's next to, basically everything in this menu. It's a symbol that's next to, Prophecy, Spire of the Watcher. It's like, in the title of that event. It's like, why are there 3 of them? What is this trying to tell me?
Hmm.
Like the director has gotten, I mean, admirably, we're in, what they say, this is the beginning of year 8 in Destiny 2. I mean, the director has grown and grown and grown and grown. I mean, heck, the last city is its own set of, basically its own submenu of different activities.
I suppose so.
That's just grown and grown and grown, and it's so hard to tell, what should I be doing? What should I care about? What can I do with how many people? Like, is
the portal going to become that though? Because yes, we've got just the 2 big expansions, but within that we've got Ash and Iron that's coming in September. Then we've got Renegades, which is the next expansion, and then 3 months after that we've got the next kind of mini expansion. Is it still going to be a quite bloated portal at that point, because you're then squeezing all of those things into this point that people are looking at? I mean, at the moment we've just got the Edge of Fate, the destination Keplar, and then we've got the ops and things. But then as you kind of scroll down and go through the portal from what they were showing, there are more and more kind of things that are popping up. And is it going to then that become confusing as well? I'm hoping it's not. I hope it's going to be simplified, that like you said, if you go away for a week, you'll be able to come back and you'll know where you've left off, what you can kind of carry on doing, and what's new to get on with, if you want to kind of do that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think the combination of there being that rotation where there's going to be, things that are featured every week or every day. I think in some cases they've said, like there will be things that hey, here's the Nightfall of the day. Here's the thing of the day. And there's also just a hierarchy to it. Just being able to go in and say, okay, I mean, it's I'm going in and saying, okay, I'm either solo or I'm with a team. Okay, great. That's one choice I can make. Okay, here's what I can play in those, in those ops playlists. And then say, do I want to be casual, or do I want to sweat? Do I want to sweat and really try to get top tier gear? Having those levers to pull. I mean, I think that just answers a lot of questions between, hey, I just want to hang out with my buddies. It's been a long week at work. I just want to play. I want to get on and just hang out in Destiny and play some stuff, and not try to do solo, flawless, top tier, whatever. Like, just giving you the ability to go, here's what I can play and here's how I can play it. I think it's just going to make a lot more sense, and just having the hierarchy to it. I mean, just having the ability to go, here's what this game is. Here's what this is. I mean, because I'm like looking at the last city right now. There's just icons everywhere, and it's like, what order should I play these in? What even are these activities? Is there a reason to do these? Are these missions? Are these social spaces? It's. I mean, again, as someone who's been in this game for this long, I look at this and I go, okay, well, I know what this is, but even I find myself going, but is there a reason to play this? Is there something I need from this? What, other than, yes, I mean, I'll get some kind of weapon and some kind of armor for it, but it's like, is this a good use of my time? I don't know.
I think that's one of the good things, is that you will be able to see the rewards. So if you're using the portal, I mean, even if you're using the world tier, it sounds like that they've streamlined that so that you can actually go and say, okay, I want to get a next powerful tier of gear to infuse into my gear, or I want to get a tier 3 or a tier 4, and it'll be easily understandable wherever you kind of go from now, especially using the portal.
Yeah, and them trying to address the Forever 29, and we'll get to, I think, in the with some of the Nightfall rework. Like, there are some knockout style things where once you've gotten something, you hopefully won't get it again, or you'll be able to say, hey, I really need a helmet. I really need, who of us hasn't been, hey, I've gotten top tier everything else, but I need that class item to drop. I need the arm top.
That's always the way.
I've got 16 helmets at the top level, but I can't get a single chest piece. And being able to focus those and saying, give me the high level thing that I need, so you're not just at the mercy of RNG, which can be merciful or can be merciless. You can be doing things over and over and over and just never getting what you need, which it just is so frustrating after a while. Like it's a chase to a point, and then it just feels like, why am I doing this? I'll just be 29. I'll never hit the peak of level 30, and I'll just sit here and be happy. So it's nice to see that they've learned from these past experiences of, hey, this is where people struggled in the past. This is where problems were. Let's improve these systems here now, years later.
Watching the live streams, I am a little bit kind of hesitant about what's actually coming with the Edge of Fate. And I think there are kind of a lot of content creators that are on one side and a lot that are on the other. And Lucky Tempe did a video this past week going over Bungie started a war in D2, which side are you on? And it was commenting on a video that Clyde made, not being kind of whelmed or even being kind of underwhelmed with the last two streams. And Lucky was kind of responding to that. I don't know if you saw it. And it was like some of the community are on one side of like, are we just getting Kepler and rehashed stuff? Because all they're showing us is Empire hunts and like Vanguard stuff that we've kind of been doing. They just moved it into the portal, and it's just like, well, we've got this new destination, and you can kind of go and do stuff in the new destination. There's going to be a new raid, but all this other stuff is just rehashed stuff. And some people are like, I hate it, and some people are, I'll still buy it. I mean, Lucky still said, they could just give me Kepler, the raid, and I will still throw money at them. And I'm kind of in the same boat. But I mean, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, I haven't seen that particular video, but I've seen sort of the same discourse people have been having, and I'm very much of two minds about this. I'm wondering, is this the, Bungie's going to get? I mean, these are big changes coming to the game, possibly the biggest changes we've seen to the basic systems of the game, and that's what we as players, we as podcasters and players have been saying, make changes to the basis of this game, touch the ritual things. Give me the quality of life updates to how I interact with this game each and every time I sit down to play it. And I'm wondering, is this going to be, again, going back to the old Mac OS Leopard and Snow Leopard releases? Hey, Leopard was a big change. Snow Leopard was basically, and it had like a big new feature or two, but it was a lot of quality of life, a lot of bug fixes, a lot of improvements to, hey, every time I sit down to use my computer, the situation is better. Yeah. And I'm wondering, is this sort of the, hey, we're going to, all those bugs that I've read out for the last, 16 weeks that are still in the game, are we going to do a massive bug fix? Are we going to do a massive change? Are we going to really, we're making all these changes to a lot of these basic systems. Are we really going to polish them and make them shine? And really, again, reworking everything is going to be a massive change. So are we going to do that and give the players a whole bunch of new things to also then sort of wrap their heads around and understand? Or is Bungie being coy and saying, hey, we're going to spend the last 5 or 6 weeks hammering home, these are changes, these are the changes, and then drop that trailer on the 14th about the new incredible activity we're going to play, that day, the next day. Is this, are they going to do their Bungie, we're going to save up the hype train and let you board the station the day before, versus sort of dripping us the hype all the way out? And I don't know which side I'm on, but it feels like it could go either way just as easily.
It could be like, I think I said a couple of weeks ago, is this because they can't do a Destiny 3, they are doing all of these massive overhauls to the game, the systems, and how we play the game itself, and being able to give us like a destination and parts of this destination and an event to do and a raid. And then when Renegades comes, that's when we're going to start seeing a lot more improvements. Like we're going to get Crucible maps. We're going to kind of have an answer to what's actually happening with Gambit. Iron Banner should be back. There should be improvements to this. There should be improvements to that. And from Renegades, it improves. I mean, it's just the loss of like players that we've already had from the final shape to the Edge of Fate, it was a kind of given anyway. But I think it's just one of those things, is like you said, is it going to be that they are saving the hype train for that day before, or have they told us everything because they want to kind of be open and say, right, this is what you are getting, these are all the changes, and this is it basically, apart from not showing the raid, not showing you the 3-player or 6-player activity that's going to be available in Kepler. This is what you're kind of getting, and this is why we're not showing you too much. I mean, we did have a comment on our last video on YouTube from Christopher Shepherd 7359. Says he's just discovered the podcast and he loves it. Thank you for that. He thinks that Bungie has a surprise lineup, so he's going along the same thoughts with you. They have to know what's right now for most of the community, and they don't want another Curse of Osiris. The time of the Vex event, because there's going to be a Vex event that's going to be, or something, there's going to be an event on Kepler, which will have a timer, which is quite nice. So it's very similar to how we had the old it was in Destiny 1 where we had the timers for all the different public events, or was that just on a website? I'm blurring the lines here. That you could go and check a website.
Timers for when they pop up?
Yeah.
Or yeah,
I mean maybe that was the website.
I was like, yeah, it started as a website, became a Discord bot of when I mean I remember going back in Destiny 1, basically just like looking from planet to planet going, is there a flag? Is there something to do?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping I'm remembering that correctly, that there were the flags like we have in Destiny 2. It's been so long, but no, I do remember it was like a website or something you could follow it. And it would say, hey, here's where the next one's popping up, because it wasn't, there was no good way to tell. Again, tell us about the game in the game.
Well, he does say that the time of the Vex event and small area are a little worrisome. I know that they want to ease on board players new to the game, but please don't forget about the old guard. So I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like they want to onboard people with this new portal, and they also want to kind of keep the old guard. But the problem is that most of the old guard that were kind of hardcore, that just went, right, that's it, we're kind of cutting ties with the final shape, did just cut ties, or even before that. So you've still got old players that are still here, and you've still got the content creators that are still here that are still quite passionate about it. But it's a two-sided thing at the moment. Is like, which side do you fall on? Are you kind of whelmed or underwhelmed?
Yeah. I mean, and that's honestly, I want to see Bungie do things in this game and making it easier for everyone to understand. I mean, we've existed with basically relying on the content creators to explain to us how to play this game for the last decade. It would be really nice to be able to, again, to talk to that coworker and be able to truthfully say, like, yes, now is a great time to get into Destiny 2, and this is why, versus going, it's been really hard to like full on recommend it to anyone, to be like, it's really worth your time. It's, the major bugs are gone. It's easy to understand. If you're sitting down, again, you're coming to this 2 weeks of, hey, everything's available, or maybe you took advantage of the sales that I believe are still going on, that we talked about last week. Hey, all this content on massive sales. Hey, I've picked up, the last 6 years of content. Where do I start? What order do I play it in? I feel like that's it is a game that really needs a Sherpa guide to sort of help you understand it. And not just the how to play the game, because every new game is like that. You sit down and you're like, okay, what are these weapons? What are these words? What are these verbs? What is this place? Who are these vendors? But then once once you've gotten to the tower, once you've played through the intro, hey, day one, you've woken up, here's what the game is. It's a shooter. You understand how that works. What next? Where do I go from there? What am I meant to do? And that's always been a question. The New Light campaign, the New Light onboarding is there. But even then, it was just sort of a one and done. Like, hey, we did this, and then haven't ever really revisited it.
No.
So it just, this game needs new blood. I know everyone, we are the old guard. We've been here from the beginning. We've been here a long time. But we need friends. We need new friends to come play with us. We need new people to play this game, to have it be successful, to have it continue, honestly.
It almost feels like with onboarding new players that they need to do that opening mission, and they need to do it and understand how we've got to the point of being there and the tower. And it needs to be the old tower. And then from there, you can either watch it or not, go into cutscenes of where we are up to now, basically. So it would go kind of cutscene, maybe ink blot kind of drawing thing to fill out the bits where you haven't got cutscenes, and say, right, you've defeated this person, which then did this catalyst to trigger this, and then we had to go off and go and do this, and then there's another cutscene which kind of gives you the story that maybe is like half an hour to watch. So you do have the chance to kind of, do you want to watch the story up to this point? And then they update it every kind of episode or every season kind of thing, to keep players up to date of like, right, this has now happened, or that has now happened. Or if you've been a lapsed player, you can kind of come in and go, right, I've played up until this point, tell me the story from this point. So I mean, they've got the cutscenes, they've got ink blots. I mean, I'm sure that they could get another third party to kind of fill in those gaps of where you kind of need to tell the player what we've actually done and what we've actually accomplished and why the story has moved to this point. I mean,
just so
if you can't play it, at least show us it, kind of thing, or show the new players it.
Yeah, I mean, just some of who are these people and why should I care?
Yeah.
There's so many names, there's so many vendors, there's so many people. Why can I go see the same person in two different places? Why does there offer me activities but then also come around once a week as and run a shop on the weekend? Like, there's so many things that just looking at with fresh eyes, it's like this doesn't make any sense. Why is this character here twice? And have I done something wrong? Is this a bug? Is this intended? Like, there's again, we've been here and we've seen them layer on and layer on and layer on to this game, and it's like, okay, we're here, and it kind of makes sense, but it's.
I mean, with regards kind of the live streams and what they're showing us of the Edge of Fate and things like that, do you think that gamers these days are too spoiled, or they expect too much? Because I mean, I'm going back like many years. When you bought a game, and it was like a cartridge game or a disc game that didn't have kind of any updates online and things like that, you paid out 50, 60, 70 pounds for that. That's all you got. Now it could be, I mean, I don't think even to the equivalent of what we're getting with the Edge of Fate. Like, you're getting the destination, you're getting all these different things, you're getting 3-player activity, you're also getting the raid and all these extra changes to the game. So compared to that, for what we're paying for this expansion, I think is really good. But I think gamers and Bungie have kind of set themselves up over the last couple of years, or even over the last 10 years, for failure. Because when we had Destiny 1 come out, they were supported by Activision. And then with that, we're going into Destiny 2, they had the support of the other two studios that helped create the expansions, and the team was bigger and they were all just working on Destiny at that point.
Yep.
Yeah. And then
they had the support. And then like
Vicarious
Visions. I know it's been giving credit for a bunch of some of the beloved content.
High Moon as well. Yeah,
I think I couldn't remember the other name, but I know. Yeah, I mean, both have been given credit independently of for the different pieces they did, and no, man, I think you're right. I mean, I think there's a lot of, this is a massive game, and it still sort of is.
Yeah,
I think what Destiny in a way doesn't get enough credit for sometimes is it sort of is, and I hate sort of using the term unicorn, but I mean, it is a successful live service game that's run for a decade. That is one consistent game, consistent experience that's just run. Again, how well, I'll leave up to you to decide, listener. But I mean, it is a game that you could sit down. I mean, you can still go back and play Destiny 1. Like, that's still, you could start from the beginning and play Destiny 1 into Destiny 2 and live in this world. And yes, the original quests are gone and I can't play the Red War campaign. Yes, there are some pieces that are missing, but it is a game that has just persisted, by and large, the same. We haven't had, it hasn't been like, starting from scratch. It's been like a progression through all this time. And I mean, things have changed. They've taken some weapons away and things away and vaulted some things, but it's still kind of the same game. I mean, again, with a lot of changes, but it's the same world, the same game in a way.
But for what you're paying out for the game now, I think it's quite good for what you're actually getting. I think the problem is that because over the years, Bungie have over-delivered because of who they've been partnered with, or the studios that are kind of helping them out, or whether they're independent or not independent. Those kind of things have had a knock-on effect of how what we've expected as a community from Bungie. And I think sometimes when we've had delays like the Witch Queen, and Bungie have had to go above and beyond, and maybe there was crunch time, and maybe the things that happened behind the scenes we have learned about recently had the effect on that. But they knocked it out the park with this and did that. But I don't think they can carry on doing what they were doing. And I think that's the problem, is that they've done so much in past expansions, whether they were good expansions or not. They've tried to do X, Y, and Z, whereas now they can only just do X and Y. And for the money of X and Y, it's still really good. because like I said, if you look back 30 odd years ago when you bought a cartridge, you just got that game on that cartridge, and you know, equivalent to the prices today, it's very similar, but
And
you
that
only
game
got
didn't
that
change.
limited kind of, you got that limited thing, and that was it. Whereas this, they will continually work on it. They will still add things to the game. They will still do stuff. It's not just kind of, you pay that price, there it is, you just play it. You know, you're paying technically for a live service of the game, and them to constantly update us and constantly change things and improve the game. So whether we've only just got Keplar and those, you know, the raid and extra blah blah blah, I still think it's a really good thing. Taking a step back and looking at it from kind of an objective point of view of like, well, if I was just purchasing a game and this is what I was getting, yes, this is good, but you know, they could do more, but obviously they can't do more. And I think that's their own fault, realistically, is that, you know, they've gone too far beforehand to kind of get so much stuff out there. And like you said before, we've had so many bugs going into various expansions, and that have kind of, how many expansions have we had where they've had to turn off exotics, they've had to turn off abilities? It's like, hopefully this time it isn't that, because I think they've rushed and they've tried to get as much in as possible.
Yeah. And again, you know, like I'm sort of hoping it is, in a way, you know, improving the game and not giving us 10,000 new activities, you know, giving us a new way to access these and a way to play these. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you entirely. Like, I think it's, and that's, I think I got lost in my explanation before. But yeah, I mean, like it is very much a, you know, you would pay $60 for your game, that would be the game, period, full stop.
Yeah.
I basically look at Destiny as, I pay $100 a year as a subscription to play this game. That's sort of the way I look at it. You know, I'm every time they have the new, you know, when the new content comes out, it's $100. I pay it. I get my 3 seasons. I get my expansion, and you know, that's really all the money I put into this game. And I'm able to play, you know, as many hours as I want. You know, we've logged thousands of hours into this game for $100 a year for all of that. Like we are basically playing a subscription game. Like this should be, and this is not me saying I want it to be, but this should be a subscription game. As much work as goes into it, as much as they have to balance and maintain. I mean, just the things they have to maintain to keep the game up and running. It's like, you know, it's not like there's no servers and people monitoring servers 24/7 in all these different parts of the world, and Destiny 1 still being up and available. Like, the amount of work and just money that goes into letting me log on and play this game. Like, there's, you know, if this game launched today, it would be a subscription. I feel like 100% you would pay your $10 a month or $20 a month or whatever to buy your Destiny subscription, and that's how you would access this game. And then you would get your, get your content, or maybe it would be a little extra for the different things, but you would be paying a subscription to play this game, because you can put tens of thousands of hours into this game for, you know, by the time you say, well, I paid my $100, I paid my this. Well, yeah. And, you know, look at that over the thousands of hours you've played. Now, again, you know, it's harder from a new player perspective if you're coming in, but yeah, but the
new
entry,
player, I think,
but the entry is free.
Yeah,
you know, the entry is $0. I mean, you can play a lot of this game for free, for nothing.
And I think new players, if they purchase stuff, they have got so much to do and get on with. I mean, if I was coming in as a new player and I purchased all of the, like, you know, I bought it on the sale and I got everything that was available. Yep. There's so much to do and get into and learn about and enjoy playing. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Where long-term people that have been here too long have expected too much for each release. They've gone, well, it's got to be better than the last one. It's got to be bigger than the last one. It's got to be this than the last one. It's like,
and new. Give me something new. Give me a new activity. Give me a new thing. Which, let's be honest, every new activity, you know, by the end of that three-month season, we're so tired of. We've all played it so many times, you know, and that's why, you know, at the end of the season, they're always like, okay, here's the event, you know, here's our seasonal event. Now go play a whole bunch more of this activity, because they know, like, we've already done the Nether a trillion times. I've already done the coil as many times as I'm going to. You know, I've sucked, you know, the marrow out of the bone of every single one of these activities. I have played them to death. I've gotten all that I want out of this. And then, hey, in the next season, then I get something else to play. Then I get something else new. There's so much content in this game, and I think the portal is just going to help honestly, in a way, help highlight that content and give them the ability to, again, all these years of activities where they built and we played and then went away, never to be seen again. Like they've talked about the coil coming back. They've talked about these things coming back. This is content they've built and spent time on and refined and bug fixed and balanced, and then are just gone forever. I think, expanding what we can play by giving us things we have, either we have played or in a lot of cases have not played. People that weren't around for that particular season or didn't buy that expansion or, didn't play a lot of, the menagerie. If that comes back, that's new content. That's a new experience you can play. Yeah. That's something new for you to enjoy. Maybe it's up on a daily rotation. It's up and it's gone. If you're like, oh, I've played this before, great, skip it. It's not for you. Not everything in this game is for you. And that's kind of the nice part about Destiny. You can play it at your own pace. There isn't a lot of time gating for, hey, I just want to get on with my buddy and play. You've got 2 weeks. You can go play. So much stuff available to you right now. Yeah, not everything, but there's so much there.
Yeah, I mean, even if they start bringing back into the portal old Nightfalls that have kind of gone away from like the planets like Io or Mercury, where we had, and they just, it's up for that one day and then it's gone. And then it might be back in the rotation about 3 weeks later. But it's something like they're dipping into their content vault, the stuff that's been put in there that we don't have access to that could then just be used. And at that point, it's then enjoyable because it's come back and it's something that hasn't been around for a while. Looking at you in Infinite Forest for Halloween stuff, maybe.
Yeah. If you haven't experienced running from a giant knight trying to smash you to bits, then have you lived?
Yeah. If you've done Prophecy and you've done the Ultimatum version and found him, and you get to the end, you can kill him. Or it's not even the Ultimatum version; it's the other version as well. Him, the guy that's chasing you around in the cube rooms, he doesn't die in the Infinite Forest. He just, or the Haunted Forest, or whatever it was called. He just chases you down.
Just chases you and makes you stressed out because you turn around and there he is. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to this game that, again, how many times have we moaned about the temporary content? This event is up for this season and then it's gone forever. I'm really hoping the portal is the entryway back into a lot of that content, into a lot of that stuff to be able to relive. And slap it on the tiering system. Let me play it hard. Let me play it easy. Let me get something out of it that I care about. It's not just limited to the seasonal weapon. It's, let me slap it up to a grandmaster level and run it through with my 5 friends and see how far we can get on it. Give me an endless play version. Give me an infinite forest modifier. Let me go and just play it over and over and over again, sort of onslaught style until I can't go anymore. Let me play it, slap modifiers on things to make them enjoyable.
That's one question I haven't seen them kind of address yet, is that we have Onslaught in the Strike playlist or in the Vanguard playlist, but the Onslaught Salvation, which came with Revenant or Echoes, one of the two. Anyway, so those 3 maps, they haven't said that those are going to be integrated into the old Onslaught stuff. And I've heard about the weapons kind of being taken out, the ones that you can attune for, but not actually heard about integrating, is it Widow's Court, Eventide Ruins, and something, and the other one. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
I can't remember which. I can't remember which is which now. Yeah,
those 3.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of with you. Yeah, because they talked about the Brave Arsenal and taking that out and putting that, making that available elsewhere. But yeah, what are we doing with these maps? Are we doing with these maps? Did you remember they were there? Are we going to put this somewhere? But yeah, I'm hoping the portal is a new. I'm trying to think of how to put it in the words. I think sort of almost like the problem with everything being available in the game all the time with the director, or on that weekly rotation, and with the missions and stuff, it's all there all the time. So there really isn't downtime for any of that content. There's no time, and that's why they've pulled the different maps out and said, hey, we're going to pull these maps out and rebalance them and fix them at some point. I'm hoping this means they can say, hey, if this is, if they're going to bring these things back with modifiers or whatever, even if it's on a daily rotation, hey, this is up for a day, then down for a day, up for a day, down for a day. It'll give them time to then be able to say, okay, we're going to launch with this 7, these 7 activities. one a day, rotate them daily. Okay, now that gives us time to go, let's work on bringing in the next 7, or we have a new batch of 3 we're going to cycle in, or whatever it is. Gives them time to say, this activity is available in the game, but not available every single day. It's available sort of on a rotation where they can sort of bring in and bring out and sort of feature different, like they feature the exotics, feature different content, feature different playlists. So I'm hoping that, again, the portal sort of gives us that ability to say, not just say, hey, here's what you should be playing, but also giving them downtime to say, hey, this activity needs some work. This needs some balance. This needs, or hey, this just doesn't work with the current tiering system. We need to rethink it. Giving them time to pull this stuff in and out, and it not being, the activity that they have to rely on with the new content. So I'm hopeful with the portal, and I'm excited to experience it because it feels like old school Halo to me. It feels like, hey, this is Destiny OS. You're going to interact with it through here, and this is how it's going to tell you what should I be doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they've added that seasonal hub, a bit like we had with Heavy Metal, so that you can daily and weekly rewards, and there's going to be a reward track. And I think even Datto spoke about it, that he wasn't allowed to look at what was at the end of that reward track or reveal what's at that end of that reward track. And that's going to be free for all players. So that's quite cool. I mean, you'll get that, and then you have the free reward pass track as well as the paid one if you pay for the paid one. So there's a lot of rewards that are kind of going to be thrown at you, and a lot of things that you can earn. So I think it's going to feel like a brand new game with the amount of things that are going to be flashing up. Like, my poor postmaster is already screaming at me. My vault is crying too much already. So I went through and I deleted about 20 items, and I think it was mainly just kind of Rite of the 9 weapons that I kind of just hoarding. So even that, I mean, I think I'm down to like 10 spaces in my vault. I'm like, oh my word. And my postmasters are all still filled up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that extra stuff. And
you're just waiting for you're just waiting for when someone's going to give you permission to say, all right, you don't need, these weapons have been outclassed. This armor has, can confirm has been outclassed. You don't need any more. I know you're waiting for basically, the word to come down from on high of, okay, I no longer need this older gear. The new stuff is that much better. It's got the extra damage resistances and buffs. It is safe to remove not everything, because you still have builds. The builds are going to be viable, but all these things you're holding on to just in case, you don't need to hold on to anymore.
But speaking of that, holding on to things, Rite the 9 weapons, I'm holding on to them, quite a few of those. And as we move into the final week, they've got a few things to tell us. So, do we remember Daybreak? We've already spoken about Daybreak. Yes, it's an old school modifier where your abilities recharge like crazy. And they've turned it on in the Explorer mode of the Rite of the 9. So that's Explorer mode and Explorer mode match made. So the higher tiers, you haven't got it in there. But if you just want to go in there for your Nonary manifolds, then you can kind of do that. Or you might get some good weapons as well. You don't necessarily have to have the holofoils. You don't necessarily have to have the adepts. If you get a good roll of that weapon with the perks that you want, then good on you. You've hit the jackpot. But additionally, in preparation for the Edge Fate, 2 servants of the 9 are bringing gifts to the Guardians. Both Xur and the Emissary will have desirable exotics that will be part of the featured gear on day 1 of the new expansion, which we kind of already covered in the This Week in Destiny. I'm just telling you again. So Strange Coins and Nonary Manifolds are your currency of choice to snag some loot. Final reminders for the last week. Current week is Prophecy as the featured. So now they've told us, it's the current week. And then until July 15th, players can earn Nonary Engrams. So I can still earn them, but I'm not sure how to earn them. Starting at July 1st, that's just gone, but you can still purchase them up until the 15th. You can purchase up to 20 of the Nonary Engrams using 350 Nonary Manifolds at the Emissary. And then starting on Tuesday at Reset, players will be awarded 1 additional Nonary Engram each day for just signing in. Just make sure you go and visit the Emissary and claim it. And then from the 8th until the 15th, we have our Lootapalooza, which increases currency rewards and weapon drops from all enemies in all dungeons, and even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters, as well as what I said with the Heretical Arsenal and the holofoils. They're also now included, but they didn't include them in the TWAB because it was an afterthought that they thought, okay, we could add those to those. Bish bash bosh, done. A new challenge appears. So if you have been playing these dungeons to your eyes bleed and you're really fast at doing them, from July 4th to the 6th. Is that? Oh no, is it July 4th at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
PT? Okay.
Yeah. So this has started. This has started until July 7th at
No, July 11th.
no. Wait.
No, yeah. I know there's two dates, but I don't think they've put it in here.
Yeah, I'm very. I thought I had it. I was like July 4th at 6 PT.
I think it must be on a tweet.
From July 7th, that's July 11th at 13 PT.
Is it from?
Why would they?
From the 4th to the 6th, and the 11th to the 13th.
That's how I read it when I read it last night.
But they haven't put the times in.
This is up for the yeah. So basically now as you hear this ending Sunday. So you missed the first one. So that doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Yeah. So we've missed a time because I thought when I read this at first I thought it was from July 4th at 6 PT to July 11th, but now I see it's the 3rd. Yeah, I don't know. Bungie, help. All
okay.
Right, let's
go through this. Right. There's a new challenge.
Destiny Tracker will tell us.
You can complete the prophecy on Eternity mode as fast as you can, and that should be from July 4th to the 6th. And I'm guessing it's just Pacific time. So when Pacific time on the 6th ends, that's when it ends. And the same for July 11th to the 13th Pacific time. So when Pacific time, so you could be the day ahead in Australia, but it's Pacific time that cuts it off. If you complete Spire the Watcher as fast as you can, solo, duo, or with a fire team, you can win prizes such as silver, one of the 9 exclusive Star Horse inspired headphone holders fabricated by Hench and Scrap, and a premium Rite of the Nine themed PC unit created by Overkill. And I'm sure we can see this. Oh yeah, there you go.
And yeah, they've got the horse and the PC, a PC there in the TWAB. So yeah, so the first one is currently going on right now. Started basically at midnight July 4th and goes to 11:59:59. Now this is 11:59:59 Eastern time on July 6th. So basically, you have the weekend until sometime Sunday night. Your mileage may vary, and then the Spire of the Watcher runs because again, this one's already ongoing for prophecies. But Spire of the Watcher starts in 6 days. So on July 7th. Now again, now this might be giving me Eastern time because I'm in Eastern time.
From the 7th? Are you sure from the 7th? Because they say 11th.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. No,
don't confuse me.
Words are hard. So we're going to put this link in the show notes to Prophecy Dungeon Run Destiny Tracker. because it has both of these things. Because when you go to destinytracker.com, they have a little banner across the top. Hey, this is live now. So yes. So on July 11th at midnight Eastern time to July 13th at 11:59:59. So basically, my guess is it's 2 full days. It's whatever. I'm going to assume it. It's the 2 full days. Now I'm curious if you pull up this link, Night Demon. I would just put it at the bottom of the show notes. Do you see these times in your local time zone? I'm assuming it'll say. I'm assuming basically what they've done is they'll say, "Hey, you've got the 3 full days. Was it 11, 12, 13? You've got the 3 full days in your time zone." I'm guessing is basically what this boils down to.
I'm clicking the buttons now and having a look. But I did click the link in the TWAB to see who's winning currently. And we have Error and Figura Ortega with 7 minutes and 9 seconds completing prophecy on the Eternity difficulty.
Those are some speed runs. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. And they're tied. Yeah. Tied for 7 minutes and 9 seconds. And then, 7 minutes, 51 seconds is currently in third. So yeah, you've got to do sub 8 minutes to have a chance at winning. And wow, that's unreal. Wow. So yeah, if you want to get your team and test your speed, yeah.
And that's only just been updated because I was looking at somebody else that I think it was iGenesis and somebody else were tied on, or Giffen were tied at 8 minutes and 2 seconds for third. And they've now just been knocked down because Edward Skeletric is now 7 minutes and 50. Oh my word. That's
wild. So yeah, I mean, if you're fast, go for it. But yeah, so basically, if you're aware of it right now, Prophecy is happening, and then next weekend, Spire of the Watcher is happening. So if you're interested, go there. It does say, go here and go to Destiny Tracker, and it does say log in to join. So, if you've used Destiny Tracker in the past, they have, they track things in Destiny and all sorts of games. So, create your account if you're interested in trying this, or if you're just interested in marveling how fast people can do these dungeons.
Yeah, it does give you the times for when it starts and ends in your own time zone. So I've got, July 7th, 4:59 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time +1. So, yeah, and then when Spire of the Watcher starts and ends. So, yeah, log in and it'll tell you in your own time zone. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't, midnight to 11:59 your own time zone. So it is, I mean, it's the weekend. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to go do this in your time zone. Basically do it Saturday and you have all 24 hours. And then you don't have to care about what time zone it's in.
Oh.
Unless you're in Australia, your mileage may vary.
And next we have a world's first race. It's back for the race.
Hooray!
And it's going to go live on July 19th, which is a couple of days after somebody that we know is going to be playing for 24 hours, doing a charity live stream for Mind. It's a UK-based charity that deals with mental health. And AI Noble did tell you about it last week. So maybe AI Noble or the real Noble will tell you about it now.
Hi again, Noble 2.5 here, Noble's virtual assistant, because that silly sausage has forgotten to record something for the show. Again, I'm here to tell you all about Noble's upcoming 24-hour charity live stream for the UK mental health charity Mind. So you can join Noble as he plays the amazing Destiny 2, The Edge of Fate, starting at 11 a.m. BST, British Standard Time, on the 19th of July until 11 a.m. British Standard Time on the 20th of July. Mrs. Noble must have the patience of a saint. Either that or Noble's promised something very big in return. Maybe a candlelight dinner for two at the most expensive restaurant in town. And if he hasn't, maybe he should. Remember, Noble, I'm just your virtual AI assistant and you can't hold me responsible for anything you would probably say or do. But in all seriousness, as I said last week, it is for a good cause, so please check out the link in the show notes to join the stream and donate what you can for this great cause. Thank you.
But yes, back to the world's first, happening on July 19th. So you can be part of the teams to kind of race against each other. And they are going to have CB Grey and Evan F1997 bring you the raid race action live from the Bungie HQ this time. So stay tuned for next week's TWAB for more information on what channels to watch, the schedule, the international hosts that will be support, and how you can earn the beautiful Power Hues emblem you see below. I'm guessing, I'm just throwing it out there, it's watch a live stream of somebody doing the day one race. Maybe.
Watch a live stream, sub to their channel, one or both of those things.
Yeah. So I think CB Grey and Evan F1997 did like a montage thing, didn't they, beforehand? So, but this time they're going to be live at Bungie HQ, watching all the stuff with the Bungie HQ people, and telling us who's doing really well. And then the best bit of those live streams is when they all go dark, because they don't want the other person or other people watching their streams saying, they
get close. Yep.
Yeah, when they get close to figuring it out, if it's a really tough one. So
yeah. I'm curious to see. Yeah, we needless to say will not be day one raid racing, but I did see somewhere. I'm 99% sure Bungie confirmed that yes, this will be another 48-hour contest mode. So if you're working Saturday and can't take the day off because the 19th is your Saturday, you will have 48 hours to attempt to get through this. Whether you need the extra time to go to sleep and come back, or you're just going to power through.
Yeah, it could be one of those things.
We will be watching.
We will be watching. It could also be one of those things where they say, right, now it's been beaten. We've now opened it for other people to just kind of go in there as like regular power. So you can go and try it after it's been beaten. Because normally it has some kind of story implications for what goes on afterwards. Hopefully it opens up more of Kepler, a bit like it did with the Dreaming City. So maybe that's why they're holding off on kind of not revealing too much. It's like, we have got this stuff. We're not going to tell you now.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, because in the past, the raid completions have always opened. Yeah, some story or some new activity.
Yeah, done something.
Or both. Yeah, so I'm curious. Yeah, I'm always curious to see when it gets beaten, what pops up on the screen on login. What new thing is now available to you? And since Kepler just seems to be an onion of challenges that they're going to slowly unpeel and unlock for us. there's got to be something or some things. There has to be. Bungie, if
Hopefully.
not, very disappointed.
No, we're
No,
not.
There's
We still love them.
There's a secret. We can be disappointed in them and love them. It can be both. It can be tough love.
We can, yeah. But Bungie are going back to GCX. It's not Guardian Con anymore, is it? It's something
GCX.
else. Just GCX. I can't remember what it's actually called. So they're going to have a developer panel that is going to be taking place on July 25th from 3 to 4:30 EST. And that is going to be with, who is it? It was Alison Thurs and Hannah Filipski. And they're going to be doing a deep dive. They're the narrative team. So Alison was the one on the couch in the first live stream, I believe.
I think that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And in gaming community expo is apparently what GCX is.
Ah, that's what it is now. Yeah, it used to be Guardian Con, then it changed to gaming something. And I'm like, oh, okay, because I think they started inviting other like games and things to be there. But yeah, it's the old Guardian Con for Destiny people. So they're going to be going through the threads of fate, exploring Destiny 2's narrative craft, and give you an unprecedented look at how one expansion story goes from initial pitch all the way through to the development to launch, with special focus on the edge of fate. And you'll be able to get to see behind the curtains of the creative process and discover what it takes to craft the narratives that drive your Guardian's journey. Our very own DMG will also be moderating the discussion. So the guy that's been doing the last 2 live streams, he's going to be there moderating and asking questions. So
fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Hopefully that's something they'll maybe record and release for those of us who are not going to be there live to see it. Maybe. Pretty
Hopefully.
please, Bungie.
Please.
That would be nice.
Pretty please. But you can find out more at GCX and how you can score the exclusive Fight Stick emblem through the GCX channels and website here. And there's a link in the TWAB. I can copy and paste that and put that in our show notes. So if you look in the TWAB, because it's hidden.
Now and I guess I should say, have we been blessed? Can you look into the past? Do we have anyone to explain to us what this Kepler restricted brief from the Vanguard All Points Bulletin is all about?
No.
No. So yeah, the House of Exile, they're out there. They're one of the Elixir houses. They have some unknown fungi or fungal symbiosis.
Yeah.
Got lots of good fungal bits growing on them. Apparently, they've got some modified armaments in addition to your standard Elixir, armaments, mines, and traps. They have a strand spear and a stasis screen now. They have heightened reactions and subdued pain response, and they are telepathically receptive. So think bad thoughts about them, and they'll make them mad. Apparently, our House of Exile is the lower house made predominantly from the remains of the houses defeated at the Twilight Gap. It's basically a collection of malcontents, outcasts, and exiles during the long drift from Earth to Reese. And while many of the exiles reconstituted into a house on the moon, Luna, a subsect of the house, broke away prior to the Battle of Twilight Gap, refusing to invade Earth. They retreated to the edge of the Sol System to live in peace. The exiles on Kepler are believed to be those defectors. And they've got some paracausal weaponry, apparently. And they've been noted to contain stasis crux cores and compressed strand tangles suspended in a mixture of Elixir technology reminiscent of House Salvation Forces under the Witness, and an unknown energetic charge.
Where did they get the strand and stasis from? We had to go through multiple levels of upgrading and challenges and find new destinations, and they've just got it. What's that all about?
Yeah, my guess it has something to do with they've undergone some sort of fungal symbiosis with the local fauna, and the funguses appear to feed from the dark matter of the Singularity, which is there at Kepler. So apparently you can either go through all the hard work or just like put some fungus on your head, and then you can learn all about stasis and strands.
Well, in the stream, I think we just crush it, don't we? We crush that fungi that's just kind of sitting around Kepler, and we can turn ourselves into a little sonic ball of spark energy.
Yep. So yeah. So apparently it's also decorative, and apparently the house wasn't always hostile. At one time, even worked alongside the Ionian population of Kepler. So maybe they'll also be in the tower hanging out with us with weird funguses on their heads.
No, they're not allowed to. We have the other ones that are our friends. We don't allow others to kind of interact with them. But I mean, we've got Cabal, we've got Elixir. We haven't got the Hive yet because Savathun's upset with us again. So
yeah, we don't need the Hive. It's good. We're good. We're good on Hive.
They teased us with the Hive being friends, and they said, they want to be friends and they want to be like guardians like you, and then we just kind of did a bit of family therapy and messed that all up because we're not therapists at all, and
And don't like sharing.
no. But yeah, we have a section in the TWAB this week going over our House of Exile and giving us the classifications, the hazards, the intel that we have on them, even though we're not gone there, but there is some intel, so we have intel on them.
Yeah.
But we'll probably learn the same intel when we get there. But it's just kind of
Probably.
giving you a little bit of a taster of what's to come. So just from what you take away from that, there are going to be flying ones. We have seen them in trailers. We have seen them in the campaign missions. If you've watched the live streams and things, more flying units.
Yep. They've got jetpacks.
I want a jetpack. It's like they saw that game that's being shut down in a couple of months called Anthem, and they went, hey, we could give our guardians that, but then we'd be called Anthem. So let's give it to our enemies. It would be interesting, though, maybe down the line, that maybe we could pick up those backpacks and use them to traverse areas. Again, Bungie, I'm giving you gold here. Just giving you the ideas.
For free.
Yeah, because like we have with the Scorch Cannons, we can pick those up and we can use their tech. Can we use their backpacks? Can we go to a? Oh my god! Can we have the backpacks in Renegades? Can I be Boba Fett with a backpack? I know it's coming. I know that Boba Fett armor is coming. Give me the backpack. Let me use their backpacks. Let me equip their backpacks in Renegades. I can fly around the maps. Have a whole Crucible mode where we can be flying Boba Fett's and shooting each other. Can't use your abilities, but you can be flying around shooting each other. Oh my god, it's going to be amazing. In my head, it's amazing. I know it's not coming, but I'm just saying it could be.
But there's a chance. I mean, it's not here yet, so hope springs eternal.
Oh dear.
There's always a chance till Renegade comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while we don't have backpacks, we are going to have some weapon tuning. Because it wouldn't be a new expansion without tuning of weapons. And who doesn't love some weapon tuning, Night Demon? I know you love some weapon tuning. So first we've got some weapon archetypes to go over.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess maybe archetype. So we're trying out something new on the Destiny machine guns, staged reloads. So machine guns generally have a very long reload animation and can be punishing when canceled. So they've added several checkpoints along the way where the animation can be resumed if it's interrupted mid-reload. And they're going to roll this out on the machine guns first, with the maybe plans to roll it out on other things in the future. I'm thinking of a couple of hand cannons. You know my deep love for the hand cannon, but just a couple of things where it really does feel like, hold on, everybody, time out. Let me reload this hand cannon individually for 45 seconds before we're ready to go. Yeah, so machine guns, stage reload places checkpoints in the reload animation. If a player cancels the reload and starts again, it'll reload from the latest checkpoint. So don't know how many there will be, but I can again think of a couple machine guns where I've accidentally canceled that reload and then had to do it again, and it's not great while you're in a boss battle.
No, that's a good change. Maybe it also addresses some kind of those glitches that people do with half reloading animations, and then it does something else. So maybe it's to tackle that as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's their, hey, if this works well here, we're going to roll it out elsewhere. Looking at you, people with hand cannons. Yeah. Also, the projectile changes for glaives and heresy generally have been good, but it did open up a small window where there was actually a nerf to the weapon projectiles, particularly in short range in PvP. So they made a change to reduce the projectile tracking strength at very close range to avoid a behavior that made the projectile less accurate. So if you've been whiffing people at point blank range with glaive projectiles in PvP, that should help you get better. Reconstruction, it's been underperforming. We've given an improvement plan. We said, listen, Reconstruction, you're going to need to step up your game. On non-rocket launchers, it's just not there. So they're going to increase the amount of ammo transferred per activation of Reconstruction from 10% to 25%.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good. I like more ammo. And Paracausal Affinity. So you may have had your Paracausal Affinity up on weapons, but you never know because there was no visible timer. So, hey, guess what? They're going to give you a timer to tell you if it's up or not.
So it's not going to be invisible anymore. It's going to be visible.
Yep.
Nice.
They're going to actually tell you what's happening. Kinetic Tremors is awesome, and everyone should use them. That's what it says right here. I'm not making this up. It feels good on fast-firing weapons, but can underperform on slow-firing ones. So they're basically making a bunch of changes to the different weapon families on how quickly you can proc kinetic tremors. So on high-impact auto rifles, you're only going to need 9 hits down from 12. Aggressive and high-impact scout rifles, 5 hits down from 6. Hand cannon subfamilies, they get special attention because your aggressive hand cannons, you need 4 hits down from 6. Your adaptive hand cannons need 5 hits down from 6. And your precision hand cannons, still 6. They're unchanged, they're just fine as they are, says Bungie. Love a kinetic tremor, very happy with that. 1-2 punch, they covered all those changes with the melee stuff, but basically as a reminder, now it works with all your melee abilities. Your perk active time increased from 1.22 seconds to 3 seconds. If you want more details, go look at the June 19th TWAB where they have all of the information on the melee changes in 1-2 punch along with that. Attrition orbs, Night Demon. They're too powerful on area of denial grenade launchers. But they kind of are underwhelming everywhere else.
Okay.
So they're going to increase the perk progress by 20% across the board and reduce it by 80% within area of denial grenade launchers. And they say this is surprisingly not as noticeable as it sounds. And they're also increasing the perk progress an additional 30% on swords. That I can kind of believe because I absolutely blanket battlefields with those area of denial grenade launchers. And I'm going, we're good, we're fine. I don't need to worry about where you are. I've just blanketed everywhere and it'll all be good. Everybody's an orb.
Your attrition orbs, is that dealing sustained damage creates an orb of power? Okay.
It is.
Scoring multiple hits against enemies within 5 seconds of each spawns an orb of power that grants 0.8% super energy. Okay, fair enough. That's what it does.
Yep. Yeah, and you can imagine on any kind of area denial grenade launcher, you just say, I'm going to hit everybody, and then everybody makes me orbs.
Well, on grenade launchers, it says it takes 11 hits. So...
I think 11 hits, even, I don't know. Even so, it's still pretty good.
Fair enough. On with the next one.
That's what Bungie says. We've got some Eager Edge and Valiant Charge changes. Eager Edge's aggressive target tracking presents 2 problems. Frustrating to use this perk for mobility in PvE, and somewhat oppressive in PvP. Valiant Charge has some similar issues. It can track to unintended targets relatively often. So they're making the change that while active, your melee search angle is now reduced by 50%, and the start of the lunge range by 88% at the edge of lunge range. And this requires the player basically to look more at their target to strike it, improving specific target acquisition in PvE, and requiring a more direct look in PvP. So it really is look where you're going, and something skating with Eager Edge I'm sure has changed, and I'll let people who do that complain about that.
No, I've heard that it's improved it for the speed skaters.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But the Valiant Charge is receiving damage whilst guarding temporarily increases sword lunge distance.
Ah, excellent. I saw this change and I was just like, I'm assuming it's negative. I just assumed somebody would be unhappy. But yeah, if it makes it, maybe you can, takes you more where you're looking, so maybe you can better target where you're skating.
Yeah.
Don't know. Not a skater, just a large slow man on the ground with his gun with many bullets.
Do your many bullets have chain reaction on them, though?
They might, and they might have more or less. So yeah, so we've got some chain reactant and hatchling interactions. It's inconsistent with other perk combinations. So they're basically trying to, make it more clear what interacts with what, making corp projects and other folks have to redo all their graphs and charts. So we don't want our players' ability to tell if a weapon roll is good or not dependent on knowing which perks chain with other ones and which don't when it is not listed in game. So threadlings created by weapon perks will no longer activate the detonation from chain reaction. Now, are you going to tell us that in the game? Unclear. But they're telling us that in the TWAB, and I'm telling you that now.
So there you go. Yes, I haven't done with. They've told us we're drawing a line under it. Nothing now going forward. That's it. You've been told once.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. So make a note of it, or look at a chart that someone else made a note of. Also, it's harder to get a precision kill with a submachine gun than with a hand cannon. But Dragonfly also deals less damage when the submachine gun activates it. And they want it to feel stronger on different weapons. So basically, we've got some chain reaction, Dragonfly, and Firefly changes. They're no longer going to use the archetype scaling against combatants, and they're instead going to use new perk damage scaling, which is more normalized between different weapon types. So basically, if you have a weapon drop with those perks on it, it should feel more consistent across different weapons. This buffs many weapons with these perks against most targets. Which ones? Can't tell you. But here's some. So basically, this is touching every weapon you have in your inventory with Chain Reaction, Dragonfly, and Firefly on it. So some of the biggest winners, Bungie says, fusion rifles deal 41% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants. Submachine guns deal 43% more Dragonfly and Firefly damage to minor combatants. Your auto rifles are getting 47% more Dragonfly damage to minor combatants. Your linear fusion rifles deal 165% more chain reaction damage to minors, and at least 124% more chain reaction to all other combatants. Varies slightly, based on the combatant type. So, boss, mini boss, it'll be a little different, but it's at least 124% more damage. So buff across the board. And then finally, swords are going to deal 123 more chain reaction damage to minors, and then at least 193 more chain reaction damage to all other combatant types, again, being slightly different based on combatant type. So, big win for those things on the different perks, hitting harder, doing more damage. And of course, there wouldn't be feast without a little bit of famine. So, 3 of the instances where they say the nerf of at least 5% decreased. So, there are some other nerfs, but they're less than 5% of the damage you're doing. So, hand cannons deal 20% less damage when Dragonfly and Firefly to major combatants. Sniper rifles deal 8% less Firefly and Dragonfly to minor combatants. And special ammo waveframe grenade launchers deal 6% less chain reaction damage to major, champion, and mini bosses, and 14% less chain reaction damage to ultra and vehicle combatants. So, lots of changes, lots of ways things go boom. I'm sure, again, people will put out videos in charts telling you exactly, what you should be using, how this matters, and what these damage numbers mean. But, big broad changes, basically. We've also got champion interaction changes. So in Season 20, we added the ability for subclass verbs, that's your ignition, your jolt, your suppression, etc., to stun champions, and have since added the verbs to specific weapon traits and to various exotics through rebalances. This is confusing because you can have a weapon, and then now it has this verb, and now which one does it do? Does it do multiple? So Bungie said, no, we're not doing that anymore. So they're going to bar certain exotics from gaining external anti-champion capabilities. Since it's become unclear to the player which exotic weapons are excluded, so we've decided to address this issue formally. Will you tell us in the game? Unclear, but you're telling us now. So weapons that intrinsically have an anti-champion symbol in the weapon tray cannot receive an anti-champion capability from an artifact or from a radiant-like effect. Otherwise, they can receive anti-champion capabilities and be able to continue their subclass verb anti-champion capabilities. So basically, if you have a weapon that is specifically anti-barrier, that weapon cannot become anti-anything else. It is always an anti-barrier weapon because that's intrinsic to the gun. But if any of your other exotics that don't have that intrinsic anti-champion mod, those can still receive, the radiant, the buff, from any of your subclass verbs. So looking at something like Wish Ender. So Wish Ender has got the anti-champion, intrinsic anti-champion modifier on it. It is always anti-barrier. Is that the triangle?
Anti-barrier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for instance, your Wish Ender is always going to be anti-barrier. Doesn't matter what subclass verb you get, it's always going to do the anti-barrier damage because it has that intrinsic perk on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you say, well, let me go grab my Outbreak Perfected, that's another exotic. It does not have any sort of intrinsic anti-champion mod on it. So it will still be able to get, hey, you've suppressed, you've jolted, you're radiant. It will be able to do anti-whatever, anti-champion mod to whatever you're doing with your subclass verbs. And that's basically the change they're making. If it has an intrinsic anti-champion modifier, it can't get anything else. But if it doesn't have one, use it like you're using it today, it can receive those anti-champion verbs or anti-champion abilities.
They came across a couple of problems, didn't they? That, like scout rifles, there was a couple of scout rifles. I believe it was the stasis one that was, the exotic stasis one.
Yeah, the Wicked Implement.
Wicked Implement that couldn't be used to do scout rifle, whatever the anti-barrier was at the time, because it wasn't recognizing it as a scout rifle because it did something else or something. I can't remember the rhyme or the reasoning behind it, but there was something that you couldn't use it. So
Right.
yeah, now if it's classing it as a scout rifle and the scout rifle has the anti-barrier or anti-unstoppable overload, then it should technically work now, is what you're saying.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think it's basically there were situations where an exotic weapon could have two different anti-champion mods because they had one intrinsically and one you could apply to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, something like the Wicked Implement, they couldn't get any because it simply wasn't applying anything. Basically, both those situations have been resolved. So you're no longer going to be able to double dip into anti-champion mods, but also everything you get will work. So call it a nerf, call it a buff. It's a change. You know, you've got 3 slots, run the things you need for the activity you're doing. You have enough weapons, or if not, you will soon. The Vigilance Wing, the exotic trait, the Last Stand, it exists, but it kind of fell behind with things like Alacrity being in the game. So when the Last Stand bonus is now active, it'll be active when running solo in PvE activities. So just giving you a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Your hierarchy of needs is now Galahorn for bows.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So basically, yeah. So players now gain charges of the guidance ring with any hit from hierarchy needs, and you only need 3 charges to deploy the ring. Your hierarchy spawned guidance ring duration increased from 13 to 20 seconds. The ring now rotates to face its owner. So if you create it, it'll now face you. Players are now also only limited to 1 guidance ring in the world per player, so spawning a second one will remove the first one. So you can still have multiple players spawning them, but you can only use one as a group. All bows now spawn missiles when fired through an allied player's guidance ring. Yes, all bows.
Heavy
So every
ones
bow
included.
gets missiles.
Heavy bows included. So, you know, your Leviathan's Breath, look, Trinity Ghoul, Le Monarch, Tiku's Divination. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the fire, all the
bows.
explosion. Yeah.
And just a reminder, the hierarchy needs is on our featured exotic list in Edge of Fate. So if you haven't picked one up from, basically for free for doing the Red of the 9 dungeons, now's a good time.
Yeah.
Especially
I mean,
if you
it comes
enjoy
without
bows.
the catalyst. You have to do the hard version of it to get the catalyst.
Right.
But once
Yeah.
you've practiced enough times, maybe you might be able to find a group that say, let's go and get our catalysts and bash head against a brick wall. Because maybe it's hard. Maybe it's not. Don't know. Haven't done it. We'll do it at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, but honestly, half the battle is just getting the weapon at all.
Yeah.
So at least you'll have the weapon. Then you can, work on your catalyst. But you have it now. I have it now, and I certainly didn't earn it. You should have it too, and you also didn't earn it.
Well, you
Maybe
earned it.
maybe
You
mad
did
at
a dungeon. You did the dungeon, and you were guaranteed you got it.
I earned it differently. So the Dead Man's Tale, it's developed a reputation. It's hanging out with the wrong crowd. So Bungie's going to help cancel out its long reload times and reward players more for landing their headshots. So each cranial spike now grants an additional 3-point reading. Each cranial spike stack now grants plus 3.4 damage versus combatants, maxing out at 17% at 5 stacks, and plus 1 round reloaded. There we go. Took way too long to say too few words.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Duality, in addition to being a dungeon, is also a shotgun. Who knew?
It is.
It was part of the Beyond Light expansion. So yeah, it exists as a shotgun, and it was good, but it didn't quite do as much as they were hoping to the previous changes. So they've relaxed the trigger on the standard trait to allow it to ramp up into a good single target damage weapon more consistently. So basically, they added a secondary activator for On Black Wings, which now gives you the buff when landing most of your pellets on a target. So if you remember Duality existed, maybe it'll be better for you. The Navigator is an interesting exotic, but has felt a bit one-trick for Woven Mail and Tingle creation. So now when the user has Woven Mail, they're going to increase your damage 25% in PvE and 5% in PvP, and increase the ammo generation stat. And the Navigator is the fusion rifle from
Trace rifle, I think.
Trace rifle. Sorry,
that was the other one that we got from
Trace
just in the
rifle
dungeons, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember if it was. The Navigator, comes from Ghost of the Deep.
Oh, okay.
So yes, that's the exact trace rifle from Ghost of the Deep. I could not remember which dungeon. So yes, that was one of the other ones that the nice lady with the feet, the emissary, could hand you if you don't have it yet. So you could also have that one and do more damage in PvP and PvE and get more ammo generation. Hey, the Wicked Implement, it fires faster now. They've also added it to be anti-overload intrinsically to align with Stasis' role in the sandbox. So Bungie is saying, hey, Stasis should overload things. Why? Because we say so. So your Wicked Implement didn't have an intrinsic anything before. Now it's going to be intrinsically anti-overload. So as we discussed above, it's just going to overload. It can't do anything else. It's going to overload champions. It also has a new rapid fire RPM. Now it takes one additional hit to start slowing and to freeze to account for the faster fire rate. They've increased the magazine size from 15 to 20. And again, now it is intrinsically anti-overload. That is what it does. That is its new job. Heavy swords are fast, but they chew through ammo really quickly. And the Heart Shadow, which comes from the Duality Dungeon, they want you to use it, but they want you to use it differently. So they've increased the ammo reserves, reduced the cost of heavy attacks to 3 from 4, and they've added defeats while Shot in the Dark is active makes you invisible once more. Worldline Zero, sort of lost its ability to let you skate alongside with the introduction of Eager Edge, so they want to sort of give it a more defined niche. So they're increasing the lunge damage by the heavy Tesseract attack by 3 meters, remove the ability to chain 2 blink attacks back to back, and they've added a new effect. Defeating target with Tesseract allows you to Tesseract again for a short duration. These extra blinks cost less ammo and consumes less guard energy. And basically, this is the sword that has the Tesseract perk on it for the heavy attack, which says use while sprinting with full energy launches a heavy blink attack. Press again after the strike to blink a second time. So they're making your blink more blinkier and do more, take you further. Devil's Ruin is another exotic that felt a bit, one trick and was making people's lives miserable in the Crucible.
I'm not sure about this change because I like the fact that you could tap off a couple of shots and then hold it down and get that burst. Now you actually have to do a reload animation thing for it.
Yeah, it does feel like a big change for a weapon that, maybe it'd been one trick, but I feel like you learned, it was a weapon that, you learned how to use it, you really spec'd into it, and you were rewarded for that mastery. So now they're changing completely how this works. So they've removed the fire on release behavior. Your beam is now behind a special reload. So kills with the weapon makes fire sprites, and picking up the fire sprite enables a special reload. So your beam now scorches on hits and ignites on kills. They've increased the magazine size to 20, and it's now intrinsically unstoppable. So they've completely reworked it. So now you have to get a kill, pick up a fire sprite, activate your special reload, then you get your beam. The beam now scorches and ignites, and you've got more ammo, but it feels like a lot.
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, and then that's another one. It is now an anti-unstoppable weapon, so it'll have you can do unstop champions, but nothing else. Doesn't get the verbs from anything else. Tommy's Matchbook, high risk, high reward. It's got some survivability issues. Who knew? So generally, they've added a burning screen effect while the player takes self-damage from the ignition trigger. Other players who are taking self-damage from the ignition trigger will now also see the burning effects surrounding their character model, I assume. Your ignition trigger, so the HUD buff now appears as a bar. While ignition trigger is active, the bar charges as you fire and drains when you don't. So long as the bar has some charge, ignition trigger will remain active. So basically, you can now use it and you have a bar to fill. So as long as there's something in the bar, the perk is active. For heat sink, your hip fire self-damage decreased to 50% less damage, that's 50%, than ADSing self-damage, which was previously 33%. So they took your hip fire damage from 33 to 50% less. So you take less damage hip firing. And the catalyst, they removed the improved health regen. Now final blows with the ignition trigger active grant cure ×1 to the user. And the scorch on hit is unchanged. So that's another one that I don't know. I am not a big Tommy's Matchbook user, but it feels removing the improved health regen and giving it cure. I don't know how that balances out number-wise. If that's,
I think it was to kind of counteract that hunter build that people were using, especially in the Crucible. Like, if you know how to use it, you could be really dominant and kill everything in the Crucible. They use it in trials. That's how good it was.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was a build going around, but I couldn't remember the specifics of it. Yeah, that would do it. So Winterbite ends up being a bit too much free damage, especially in comparison to swords. So Winterbite is now first going to be intrinsically anti-overload. So again, giving it that, hey, overload things are stasis, stasis is overload. They're also reducing the enhanced melee damage with ammo down from 50% extra damage to 20% extra damage. So this is to account for it being able to receive melee damage bonuses from a variety of sources. So basically, it's less intrinsically doing more damage with the ammo when you hit it, as a melee attack, because they can get buffed elsewhere. And again, now it's intrinsically anti-overload. They've also given, a couple other things, other exotics, just the anti-champion changes. So the following weapons have been rebalanced, have not been rebalanced, but have been given anti-champion capabilities intrinsically. So your Queen's Breaker, your Salvation's Grip, and your Dragon's Breath are all anti-unstoppable champions. So if you need to unstop a champion, bathe them in fire. Dragon's Breath, done.
Yep.
So overload champions, Tractor Cannon or Two-Tailed Fox. Anti-overload. Hit them with the Tractor Cannon or bathe them with Two-Tailed Fox's Catalyst and all three abilities. Then you're good. And then finally, Conditional Finality, that shotgun from the raid that can do 2 different elements, is either going to be anti-overload or anti-unstoppable, depending which element is active. So, stasis and solar, I think, is the other one. So yeah. So when you're I have to go back and double check myself. So yeah, so when you've got the stasis active, it'll do overload. When you've got the solar active, it'll do unstoppable. So there. And again, those all get intrinsic. So again, those will not be able to receive an anti-champion from anything else. Those will have those intrinsically now.
Do you think I'm guessing they've also done that on purpose because maybe some things were kind of too overpowered to use in as a certain one? Maybe.
Yeah, I think there's probably some motivation, again, not giving the weapons the ability to do double duty, but yeah, just also making it clear. Because, how many times have you been in an activity going, why isn't this weapon, why isn't this weapon infecting this champion? Oh, because I either am radiant or not, or am this or not. It's, I like it being a little more clear on what does this do and where can I use it? And yeah, the couple of builds where you could double dip, are over, but you have enough other tools in the tool chest, you'll be fine. And PvP, they're concerned about all the rebalancing, and they've got their fingers on the triggers and looking at numbers, but they're not doing it. Basically, they're saying, we're not going to preemptively nerf anything yet. We want you to play with them first. The unspoken part is, then we're going to nerf the things that are overperforming. So nothing specific about PvP yet, but just basically once they see how realistic it is to achieve certain stat combinations and what trade-offs you're able to do with those stat splits, then they'll have a picture of, sort of how Crucible is going to play out. So things may be real hot or real cold, the first week or couple of weeks, but they're going to, look at those closely and being prepared to make changes. So nothing coming yet. So who knows what PvP is going to look like.
Which is what I feel it's always like, isn't it? It's like it's always the Wild West to start off with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something will be ridiculously overpowered, max out the stack, and you can do something insane, and then Bungie goes, oh yeah, maybe don't do that anymore.
Yeah. So in the Edge of Fate, they are refreshing our power, and we're all going to be put back to power level of 10, and then we'll have to grind up from there, and it's entirely up to you how you kind of want to do it. And what they're doing is removing the power from the artifact, and we did go over this a couple of weeks ago. So the artifact still needs to be powered up to unlock the mods, but the actual light that you kind of generate on there, that artificial light for the season that then just gets taken away at the end of the season, is now putting on the gear, and then that will be taken away at the end of the season. Got it? Good, because that's how it's going to work.
Got it.
So there's going to be even more things to help you kind of level up and earn your power. And they've also removed the barrier, the weekly barrier, of how you want to kind of grind out your pinnacle gear. So you can just do what you want as much as you want and just grind your faces off, and it's just unlimited. You can level up how you want, where you want, what you want, as much as you want, kind of thing. And the first thing you'll notice when you log into the Edge of Fate is that your power is refreshed. So the power inflation over the years has created a large number that kind of gets confusing with damage numbers and where your light is, where your light's on your artifact and what you could do in that. So it's all just going to be on your gear from now on. And you'll all be at 10. Apparently it's much cleaner for them to kind of understand. And that's why we're kind of all be reset. I think they said that they're going to reset us back to 200 for Renegades.
Yeah. Basically, you'll start at 10.
Yeah.
you know, sort of like the new soft cap will be 200. So basically, once you work up to 200, and that's where you'll sort of start the next time around. That's your new floor. It won't be 10. It'll be 200 going forward.
So the power band, that's going to be from 10 to 20. And it will work as it traditionally works. When the player reaches the soft cap, you'll see that you need to kind of progress past that to earn higher tier gear and get even higher. Playing activities on the portal will increase your progression, whilst completing missions and finding secret chests in the Fate Saga expansions will offer the fastest progression. So lots of activity content will exist within the power band, including the entire The Edge of Fate expansion pack, event activities, all legacy content, and even the new redacted raid. While these activities won't ask you to earn more than 200 power to play at max effectiveness, they may offer rewards above 200 when playing at harder difficulties. More on that later. So during the climb to the power cap of 200, you'll be able to earn tier 1 and tier 2 and even the occasional tier 3 drops. This gear is as strong as legendary or even adept weapons before the Edge of Fate, and your progress up to the power cap will also stick around into the new season, which is Destiny 2 Renegades releasing in December, giving you the consistent access to your gear as strong as, or even better than what you're used to, as well as a ton of activities to play. So once you've reached that 200, that's good, but as we've kind of discussed, you may want to kind of take that gear and infuse it into the new gear when Renegades appears in December, because although it will be at the power, but it won't necessarily be that part of that season. So you'll lose out on the bonuses and the benefits from the artifact that gives you the new gear benefits and things. So yeah, so you still have the power that you can infuse into the new stuff as we kind of go along. Seasonal bonus power. So since Shadowkeep, the seasonal artifact has offered a way to increase your power above the power cap through artifact bonus power. While this was a great way to get an advantage in higher power activities, it wasn't consistent with finding new and better gear. Driven instead by XP, it incentivized behavior like bounty farming that didn't quite focus on overcoming new and greater challenges. So in the Edge of Fate, the seasonal bonus power will now live right on your weapons and armor instead of your seasonal artifact. By overcoming harder challenges in PvE, as customized by you, or challenging yourself in competitive or trials PvP, you can earn gear with greater amounts of seasonal bonus power that will increase your level beyond the power cap. Bonus power and rewards. As with the climb to the power cap of 200, by increasing your power level further with the seasonal bonus power, you'll be able to earn even higher tiers of armor and weapons, even greater benefits. When the Edge of Fate first launches, you'll be able to increase your power as much as a total of 450. Earning high enough grades from the portal activities can give you consistent growth all the way up to 400. So total power 400 to 450 will come at first with a newly upgraded Prime Engrams, which will drop both high power and high gear tiers than your regular rewards. Achieving higher grades in portal activities improve your chances of finding Prime Engrams, which are also no longer limited by week. And then we have Ash and Iron, which is going to be another major update that's coming in September. You'll also be able to earn power that all the way up to 550. Regular rewards from the portal activities will be able to drop up to 500 total power, and the Prime Engrams will again award you gear up to 550, which is a hard cap. Those who reach 500 power will be rewarded with regular drops of the highest tier of weapons and armor, tier 5. And this gear comes with both unique aesthetic qualities and the highest stats. So being able to consistently farm them will be a spiritual journey for the most ambitious Guardians. So what that says to me is that you can just grind your face off and get to like 400 and 500, and then you will be rewarded with like the higher tier weapons and armor consistently. But it is kind of, you are going to be on a treadmill each season. So Ash and Iron is the mid-season refresh, but you can go up higher to the 500 and 550. But when Renegades comes along, you'll have that gear that will be knocked back down to 200, but you will then want to kind of get the new gear, infuse your old gear into that gear to then take it forward, or that new gear drops at 200 or 200 plus to then go off and do whatever you want.
Yeah, and then I know a lot of people are upset about the treadmill and the changes. I kind of like that change. Again, that's sort of what that's sort of what I want to know is what should I be using? What have I been using? I don't know. I sort of like the you sort of start fresh each time with, hey, this gear is at this level, so you can really sort of make your decisions on what I want to keep, what I want to get rid of. I don't know. It feels,
yeah, we'll have to see.
But it feels like a good change. It feels, I'm excited to. Honestly, I'm just excited for a change versus just numbers go up every season, which it just felt whether we were making that climb or in the last couple seasons where they've taken that climb away, it just, I don't know, it didn't really feel meaningful either way. So I sort of like that there's we're all sort of starting here, new players and returning players alike. We're all sort of starting on equal footing, and now we're getting to go and make that climb. But again, and the fire team power is still there, so you don't have to all grind your face off as long as you have a friend that does. Then you can still go play the higher power activities.
Yeah,
I think it's a nice mix between, I can absolutely grind my face off, or hey, I took these 2 days off work. I'm not limited to what I can play. I can grind as much as I want for this limited time that I have, and I don't hit a ceiling where it's like, oh nope, you've done your 10 things for this week. Got to come back next week and do more.
I mean, if this was a brand new game, if this was Destiny 3, and this was the way going forward, I don't think people would be complaining as much, because we would have an empty vault. We would have, this is the way that it's going to be. You don't have access to any of those old weapons. You don't have access to your old armor things. I think then it would have been a little bit simpler. But I think the stumbling block is the fact that we have that old gear, and you can still equip that old gear. But if it was a new game and it was just like, this is the way that this is going to be, you're at power level 10, you can grind up to 200, and then every season it's going to be 200. There will be new gear that is relevant to the artifact to get the bonuses. So if you want to, you can still use that old gear that you got in that first season. But if you want to continue playing this game and get the best out of it, you're going to need to be on that treadmill, get the new stuff and get rid of the old stuff. I think that would have been better. I mean, exotic weapons, you could have they could be in the collections, but then I think you'd still find people would still hang on to their kind of legendary weapons, just in case they kind of came back around and things. So you'd still have that initial problem with your vault, but it might not be as much of a stumbling block, because we're still in an existing game at the moment. If it was a separate game, I don't think it would be that much of a stumbling block.
Yeah, and I think in a way, I think the worst thing Bungie ever did with the sunsetting was the unsunsetting, because now every time it's like, well, are you going to take this away? Should I delete this old stuff?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to undo it in 2 or 3 seasons? So I should still keep everything. Just the uncertainty. That's that's where the biggest problem. Just the uncertainty of, what do I do with the stuff? There's so many people, and again, I can't fault people for like you and others for holding on to everything, going, but it might be useful. It might have a perk combination you can't get. It might still be viable. Yeah, I'm not bringing it into the day one contest raid, but there's so many other things you could play with this thing, with these weapons and armor that you've earned. And it's just no assurance on, no, this is really over. It's now really safe to get rid of this. It's really not, you're not going to enjoy playing with this anymore. Is basically what it comes down to, because that's why everyone keeps things, is this something I can enjoy playing with sometime in the future? And if there's even a glimmer, if there's even a maybe, people are going to keep those things, because there's always a chance.
Like I watched, I will include it in the show notes, where Datto completely destroys Fallout's vault, and he makes a video on it, and he's like, and his is that same kind of argument, but that perk combination doesn't exist anymore, but it may be better later on down the line. And Datto's like, just get rid of it, just nuke it, get rid of that. You don't want it, you don't need it. There's always going to be something better. It's like, but I still want to hang on to it. So yeah, I'll include that, because that was quite a funny watch.
Yeah.
But Infusion, we have Infusion. So at the moment, we have upgrade modules, but apparently it's a hassle. It was, you had to collect your enhancement cores, you had to get your Glimmer, you then had to go and visit Banshee or Ada 1 and buy those things. Yeah, that's all going to be changed. Modules that you currently have will be deprecated, and you can kind of dismantle them, and you can reclaim 5,000 Glimmer and 1 enhancement core, which is the same price as the Banshee 44 and Ada 1 that sold them for. So you're not losing anything. So yeah, you can get those back. But you can infuse levels of seasonal bonus power in your favorite gear using the new currency called Unstable Cores. While you'll find unstable cores from a variety of sources, your primary way to acquire them is by dismantling unneeded gear that has the seasonal bonus power level. The higher the bonus power level that you dismantle, the greater number of unstable cores you'll receive. Delete things, get materials, infuse things, and the higher they are, it'll cost more to infuse into them. And unstable cores will have a large inventory cap and will be refreshed at the start of next season alongside seasonal bonus power. So from what I'm getting from this, the unstable cores will go away. So you can't hoard them for the next season. They will be refreshed. That's what I'm guessing, because they're unstable. So you can use them to power you up. Otherwise, you could store masses of these in one season and then take them into the next season and just throw them at. Maybe not. But it does it. They will be refreshed, which says to me, refresh means we're removing them from your inventory. You grind your face off and get more stuff.
Yeah. Maybe hopefully you'll give me some to start with, so you're not just taking them away from
Oh,
me.
it'll be on the
Or-
reward track. There'll be unstable stuff on the reward
Yeah,
track.
Yeah, again, like I'm like there's no part of me who is worried about, earning enough of these currencies. Again, you play the game, you get the rewards, you get the stuff.
Yeah.
But I know people will go, well, I grinded for those, and I had those 1900 unstable cores, and now you're taking them from me. You just go get more. You're going to play the game anyway. Like, go.
Look, they do make it clear.
Go play the game.
You can only get them from dismantling unused gear or unneeded gear from the seasonal bonus power level. So it's only from the season. So they're going to be taken away. Just telling you now, all going. Don't worry about them. Don't store them. But there's going to be a high cap on them. So you can store them for now when you get them.
Yeah.
Good.
Don't think you're going to, dismantle your entire vault and get a whole bunch of cores, because no.
So quality of life. With the Edge of Fate, the power climb should be more intuitive than ever before. Seasonal bonus power offers a refreshed player journey for the highest tiers of gear every season while keeping numbers understandable and meaningful. The rewards that you get from the activities are kind of forecast, and as we kind of discussed, whatever kind of thing that you pick through the portal, you can adjust what your rewards are based on your buffs and your debuffs. So you'll be able to see what you're getting for what power and what you need to do to achieve that. So the portal also comes with a new daily bonus focus reward across PvE and PvP. If you're missing gear, there's going to be a daily rotation that you can kind of focus as well for specific things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, in a specific slot. So again, if you need those boots, you can focus boots.
And they're going to be sticking to the account-wide power progression that we currently have. So if you get your Hunter up to 400, then you want to start playing as your Titan or your Warlock, that will carry over, that you can kind of max out one character and then you can change to the other ones and still get those really high power drops for those other characters. So they're going to stick with that going forward anyway. And the fire team thing also is going to be continuing going forward. So if your friends are grinding your face off, like Peroty says, and they're like 450 on day 2, stick with them because they kind of carry you through all the hard stuff. And you can get some drops that are really high.
Yeah, and that, again, that's been in the game for a while now, but that's honestly the best thing they could have done to say, to help you, the person who doesn't get to jump on during the week, and your friend who's, got the time to play and is already, 400 light levels above you, versus going in and being like, well, first we have to power level you, then we can go do the new content. It's just, no, you join your friend, you're brought up to that power level. Now you can go to the new content without being, horrendously underleveled. I mean, I remember dragging people through Volta class in Destiny 1 that were way underleveled, and it's basically you stand here in the bubble because you're a one shot to every thrall. So that remains just my favorite thing they've done, of just letting you play with your friends. Find your best friend, find your highest powered friend, go do activities, have a good time. Rinse and repeat.
So we have economy updates in the Edge of Fate. So
thank God.
Armor Masterworking. So yes, we've got the tiers of armor. Yes, we have unstable cores to upgrade. So for instance, if you have a piece that is 200 and you get a piece that drops at 250, for example, because I don't think that's going to be the way it happens, you need to use your unstable cores to level that up. But you can still masterwork that armor to give you extra slots and do various different things and be amazing. So the higher the tier, the more it's going to cost. And if you notice, they have a little table in the TWAB this week, and they're rebalancing the distribution of masterwork materials pretty dramatically when the Edge of Fate arrives. So enhancement prisms will become a bit more common than they previously were to fit in with the role between enhancement cores and ascendant shards, so golf balls and shards and things. So in core game activities, you'll have a chance for major enemies to drop materials such as masterwork materials maybe even some other goodies. So gear tier 1, because we've got the tiers of gear as well. So you're looking at Masterworking level from 1 is 300 glimmer, going up to 5, which is 4,500 glimmer, and 2 enhancement cores. So not the prisms, just the enhancement cores. So that's just gear tier 1. 2, going from level 1, 1,200 glimmer, up to level 5, which is 7,000 glimmer, 2 enhancement cores, and 1 enhancement prism. And then tier 3, we have, which is, I think tier 3 would be the equivalent of what we've currently got with, is that the Artifice armor that we currently have?
Yeah. Yeah, they're basically saying like tier 3. Tier 3 is sort of the highest you could get in today's game.
Yeah.
Thing comparable to that.
So leveling it up from level 1 is 1,500 glimmer and 1 enhancement core. Masterworking level 5 on tier 3 armor is 8,500 glimmer, 5 enhancement cores, 2 enhancement prisms, and 1 ascendant shard. So that's like masterworking it out at the moment. And then, further and further up you go with tier 4 and tier 5, it costs more. There's 9. Tier 5, Masterworking level 5, 12,500 glimmer, 9 enhancement cores, 5 enhancement prisms, and 2 ascendant shards. Exotic armor, you can also masterwork. So from 1 is 1,500 and 1 enhancement core to level 5, 8,500, 5 enhancement cores, 2 enhancement prisms, and 2 ascendant shards, which is pretty much what it is now.
Yeah, but basically it's like the Go Beach level is going to cost you like between either like 5 or 10,000 more glimmer total to get there. It's like to get to tier 1, it's like 10,000 glimmer, or to max it out. Now it's a bunch of glimmer, a bunch of enhancement cores. It doesn't feel much different than what it is today.
Yeah, and masterworking is a little bit different now because it doesn't do what it does now, but it still gives you it gives you increased stats for whatever you kind of want to max out your stats. And was this the one where they were saying that you could move some of the stats around with certain bonuses, I think, or
the different tunings you can do. Things are going to have the tuning slots on them, and
so you still want to masterwork your stuff, and I mean, so there is still a reason why you want to kind of do it and but put your resources into masterworking those armor pieces. Note that these changes apply only to new armor. Weapon masterworking is unchanged from how it worked previously, even if it may be revisited in the future. So the armor that you currently have now going into the Fate is going to be on the old system. New stuff is on the new system, and masterworking weapons is unchanged at the moment. And you did touch on destination materials earlier, didn't you? That is going to kind of be deprecated.
I did.
The list is...
This is the list. And 19, what does this say? Master Rahul will no longer accept destination materials, and they will no longer have any value.
Look,
they are safe to delete the
Master
following
Rahul,
things after July 15th.
Master Rahul is never taking my alkaline spores, my dust-like crystals, my harmonic siphonate, or my phase glass spires. He's not even having my quantized data lice, my ethereal spirals. I think that's it. That's all I've got kind of hoarded. But I've got those things, and I'm hoarding them, and I'm keeping them. They're going to be in my vault. But the list of materials that can be safely deleted after July 15th is Finest Matterweave, Dust-like Shards, Microplastic Data Lice, Barium Bows, Helium Filaments, Glacial Starwarts, and Spin Metal Leaves. Because at the moment, you can trade them in for Glimmer, I believe, in bulk, if you still have the old versions. Because they did convert them to, if you pick up a chest and they drop, it automatically converts it into Glimmer when you do pick up a chest on a destination, because they wanted to stop people holding on to stuff in their inventories like me. But I've got blue versions, so I'm quite happy.
But I've been holding on to those since Witch Queen. So Witch Queen is basically when those materials stopped dropping. You could still go collect them on the various locations for Glimmer and Reputation. But you haven't been able to receive those materials since Witch Queen. And the demon says, "You will never take them. They're mine. I earned them."
They are until they deprecate them out of my, like they did with the mods that was for Armor 1.0, that they just kind of, you can't even see what it is now. Anyway, activity reward changes. Vanguard Onslaught, or Vanguard Ops Onslaught, So Onslaught has been rebuilt to be part of the core game activity engine and will drop new tiered rewards. That means that the old gear from the Brave Arsenal is going to be moved, and Zer's going to be having it as part of his legacy armor or legacy weapon selection. Only standard and non-4 versions will appear at Zer, and Zavala will no longer offer Onslaught attunement. So it's not there, you can't get it. He says no. Nightfalls remain accessible from the World tab in the Edge of Fate, and they will no longer work on a weekly rotator, but on a daily one. And this will include all current Nightfall strikes and battlegrounds. And the requirements, this required some change to how the loot pool was delivered. So Nightfall weapons are now legacy gear. So anything that we kind of got now that we're farming for, or anything at Zavala that's in that Nightfall weapon pool, is legacy now, or going forward in the Edge of Fate. And the Nightfall loot pool will be updated to include all previous Nightfall weapons that have origin traits. Nightfall rewards are on our knockout list until all Nightfall weapons have been unlocked. From then on, all Nightfall weapons have a flat drop chance, and Grandmaster Nightfalls no longer exist going forward, as their purpose and function has been transferred to the portal screen and conquests. You will still be experiencing Grandmaster difficulty, just in other activities. I'm not sure how I like the daily rotation of the Nightfalls, but we'll see how that kind of goes down, because that's going to be a bit of a pain to kind of put into a video. Oh, today it's this one, today it's that one, today it's this one.
How do you feel about your Nightfall weapons on the knockout list until all have been unlocked versus that tells me it's no longer waiting for a specific Nightfall to come up to then grind my face off to try to get that Nightfall's weapon, or going, oh goody, it's the sniper rifle again that I don't need and don't care about, but sure, we'll run this Grandmaster.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds better. Legacy Rituals, Crucible, Gambit, Vanguard Ops. Activities that don't offer tier gear required some adjustments in the new system. So Ritual Reputation reward tracks have been moved. Ritual engrams have been removed. Legacy focusing remains, but costs have been updated with the removal of the Ritual engrams. Legacy armor and legacy weapons will cost 15,000 glimmer and 3 enhancement cores. So apart from kind of rounding out collections, I don't see anybody really going for that, but maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It really is Gambit's in the game, but there's literally nothing you can get from it that you'd care about, likely. So, yeah, it's there.
Yeah. You can collect the Gambit armor and transmog it onto the new gear, because hopefully that's still a thing. Vendors and reputation rank tracks. So when you start playing the Edge of Fate, you'll notice the vendor reputation system has been removed from vendors in the tower, with the exception of Hawthorne, because she's special and we want to keep her that way. This new approach comes in hand with the rebalance of rewards throughout the game. Without going into too much detail, because we already have, we can say that removing these reputation tracks allow us to be more rewarding with the currencies and gear that drop from activities. With that in mind, here is a list of additional changes coming to a fistful of vendors with the new expansion. We hope that it helps you understand their new duties. So Zer is going to be our legacy vendor, basically. He will not sell legendary armor in the Edge of Fate. All of Zer's legendary armors will move to Ada 1, where she will sell them for cosmetic purposes. Zer will now sell 2 exotic armor pieces per class per week. One will be from the existing pool of exotics that Zer has already sold, and one will be from the Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, and Final Shape pools. Players must own the expansion these exotics are associated with in order to purchase them from Zer. Zer will continue to sell catalysts, but they have been moved to Strange Coin Gear Offering submenu. Zer will sell exotic class items every week. Players will still need to acquire the exotic class item from the Dual Destiny or from the Fest of the Lost before Zer will allow players to purchase the exotic class item. So with that, Fest of the Lost, that comes around every October. And there was a way for players that didn't want to do the Dual Destiny or couldn't have access to the Dual Destiny to play the Fest of the Lost and grab like the exotic class items to then be able to go to Zer and pick them after that. So I guess that's still going to be coming back around, because we did have a guess at that when they did that last October. We were like, oh, are they going to be doing that for every event like Solstice? There'll be like a challenge that you can then, for people that come in after the Festival of the Lost, to then go and do that challenge or that kind of quest to then unlock it to then purchase it. But no, it seems to be just Festival of the Lost and Dual Destiny for now.
Yeah. So I am curious if come October, will we, if you haven't done Dual Destiny, you can't do, won't do, whatever. Can you get them unlocked that way? Because I did Dual Destiny on the Titan, but I unlocked it through Festival of the Lost on my Warlock. So the only difference is you can't focus with the Ghost of the Pale Heart, on my Warlock, because I haven't done Dual Destiny. That unlocks the focusing of the perks, but they can still drop randomly on the Pale Heart from opening chests, or I can buy them when Xur comes around.
And when
So
you say
hopefully
focusing,
they'll
that means that you can try and get the 2 perks that you want on that class item, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm trying to remember, can you focus both of them, or can you just focus the one? Because I think I did it one time and haven't gone back since.
I haven't actually done it. I've just gone and thrown coins at him and randomly got what I've got. But there is a way of focusing so that you can try and get the perks on the class item that you want. Save you having to kind of keep doing Dual Destiny over and over and over again and get it to drop, or just throw your coins at there and just randomly get it. But there is a way of focusing. But if you did it the Fest of the Lost way, you don't have access to that focusing of the traits. You are just kind of left down to RNG, which, suits some players and doesn't suit others.
Okay, so yes, real-time follow-up, yes. You can either choose something out of column 1 or column 2. So yeah, basically, all of the exotic class items drop with 2 different perks on them. You can focus one of those 2. So, you can either say, here's one from column 1 or here's one from column 2. So at least you can sort of half focus what you're looking for at the Ghost in the Pale Heart.
So yeah, when you actually do the Dual Destiny.
Yep. Once you do the Dual Destiny, then you visit the Ghost in the Pale Heart, and he'll have an attunement menu available to you.
Okay, so that's the vendor,
that's where you can choose
the old tower, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Fair enough. Xur will sell 9 legendary weapons per week, 3 weapons per slot. Class-specific swords, which aren't class-specific anymore, are still in Xur's inventory, but will not be available every week. Yes, because we removed that class specification for those, so everybody can wield all swords now. Xur has had the Brave Arsenal weapons added to his inventory, the non-holofoil ones, and they're just the standard version. Xur has had the Legacy Nightfall and Trials weapons added to his inventory as well. This guy is stacked. He's going to have so many Legacy things. There are rare chance. Yeah, there is a rare chance at Adept weapons showing up. Standard weapons will cost 17 strange coins. Adept weapons will cost 41 strange coins. Xur has had the weapons from Echo, Revenant, and Heresy added to his inventory. Again, there's going to be a rare chance that the Adept Heresy weapons. Standard is 17 strange coins. Adept is 41. And he's had the Legacy Comp Crucible weapons added to his inventory, which means that the Redrix S stock that we all like, that's available now. Yeah, that's going to be with Xur. It's not going to go to Shaxx and go, okay, we're going to convert that into this season's Legacy only. But he will no longer sell Nightfall Ciphers, Gambit Engrams, Crucible Engrams, Vanguard Engrams, or upgrade modules. Because, doesn't want to. Ada 1, she's going to be offering up to 20 thread bounties per season per class. So that's very cool. So if you want to do your transmog, you want to kind of go and grab those. Ada's inventory of legacy armor has been expanded to include armors previously distributed via Xur. Legacy armor will cost 15,000 glimmer and 3 enhancement cores. Ada will offer players who have made it to the tower for the first time before the Edge of Fate a bundle of exotic armor tokens to be used to roll exotic armors with the new stat packages. So she's going to be the one that you go and visit for those 20 tokens. Players must have unlocked an item in collections before it's eligible for rerolls with Ada 1. These tokens are on a one-time offer, and these tokens will disappear from Ada 1 when all tokens have been spent. No new armors will be added to this in the future, so there is no benefit to hoarding the tokens. Transmog bounties...
No benefit to hoarding the tokens.
No. The transmog bounties have been overhauled. PvE bounties that can be completed anywhere in PvE activities no longer send players to specific destinations like the Blind Well or Altars of Sorrow. PvP bounties that can be completed in any PvP mode, Crucible Trials, etc. Raising Dungeons is unchanged from previous versions. Banshee, the Gunsmith. Reputation reward track has been removed. Bounties no longer provide Gunsmith reputation. Dismantling gear no longer provides Gunsmith reputation. Banshee has no reputation. He doesn't like any of us. He won't sell upgrade modules. You can get Gunsmith engrams. No, you can't, because they've been removed as well. But you can get legacy weapons, and they will cost 15,000 glimmer and 3 enhancement cores. That's all he's got. That's all he's got for you. He's not doing anything else. At this point, is there any other reason to visit the tower? Because at this point, I'm like, they don't want you to visit the tower. They've taken everything away from everyone apart from Hawthorne. Rahul, his Cryptarch reputation ranks have been removed, which means you don't necessarily need to throw all your exotics at him to level up your rank track with him to then go give me some of those new exotics, because that won't work anymore. Because the new exotics that are in the Edge of Fate will only be unlocked via completing the Legacy campaign and not through Rahul. But once they're unlocked through the campaign, I guess you can go to Rahul and go, give me a different version of this, as we always have. So focusing for exotic armors from past expansions will be available to players immediately with no need to decrypt engrams to unlock it. Cost remains the same for novel focusing. Focusing submenu has been reordered to put the most used screens up front.
So maybe the ones that you have to go 3 screens over for to say, no, I want this one. Let's put those up front. So I can skip those other screens that I don't want.
Fair enough. Ghost mods, as we enter the world of Armor 3.0, we have new stats that are coming in to replace some of the old ones. So you don't need the armor mods that say, give me mobility. So it's all being kind of rejigged. So previous armor ghost mods like resistance and mobility and all of that are kind of being deprecated as they no longer match the stats on armor post version 900. Version 900? They will be replaced with a new set of armor ghost mods, and some activity ghost mods have been deprecated, and they plan to add new activity ghost mods in future releases. Those are the ones that we kind of talked about at the beginning with the developer insight with the weapons and things and the mods.
Yeah, I'm guessing the version 900 was a dev note that leaked in there going, yeah, I'm like, version 900? Which one is that?
It's version 900.
Which date
We're
is
up
this?
to 900 now, yeah. The Assyrian ciphers and Nightfall ciphers, basically keep them. They're not, you won't be able to use them, but they've got plans for them in Destiny 2 Renegades, and they'll tell us about it in advance, but later, not now.
So literally one material that says you can't use these right now, but you will. So hoard these.
Until you can't, or they've decided not to use them.
Right.
We've already gone over the Destiny 2 expansion open access. So starting July 8th on Tuesday until July 22nd, you have access to all the Destiny 2 expansions for free on all platforms. So go and play stuff. And then you have access to like Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy up until the 15th. So go and grab all those things.
1 week to play your old stuff, 1 week to play your new stuff. Go.
Exactly. Go now. Go now. Stop. No, listen to this podcast first, then go. Or put us on while you,
do both.
Anyway, Bungie Day, that's almost here. That comes before. That's probably, as you're listening to this, is Bungie Day on the 7th of July. They're partnering with Twitch with their summer rewards and give you a fresh new emblem from 12 a.m. PT on the 7th of July until 12 a.m. PT on the 15th. You gift a sub in the Destiny 2 category to receive a Pixel Perfection emblem. Guardians for Good, your Bungie Day 2025 guide. Greetings, Guardians. Bungie Day is nearly upon us, and we once again have so much to celebrate. We're less than 2 weeks away from kicking off a brand new saga in Destiny 2 with the launch of the Edge of Fate, and on the 7th of the 7th, we are ready to ramp up the chaos once again with the second annual Bungie Foundation 7th Column Chaos PvP tournament. Nothing brings the community together more than a little healthy competition, especially chaotic competition in the name of creating life-changing impacts. This year's Bungie Day runs from the 7th of the 7th to the 29th of the 7th, and it comes with an awesome slate of new and returning donation incentives, fundraising milestones to earn, and a chance for everyone to be a different maker in communities in need. Bungie Day, what is it? It was created by the community in 2006, and it's a chance to celebrate the achievements both in-game and out of game. And you've toppled epic raid bosses, cracked cryptic community puzzles, and forged incredible lifelong bonds, all while making major dents in the real world that echoes far beyond the tower. From fundraising our Little Light program so kids in hospitals can have a sense of normalcy during the challenging times, to rushing aid to those in need of following disasters. Your commitment to the cause makes it possible, and we've accomplished so much together, and your support this year will push our mission to even greater heights. So you can get involved. There are plenty of things for people to get involved with. You can do your own fundraising with the campaign on Tiltify.
Tiltify, I think it is.
Tiltify, there you go. Or you can watch the chaos unfold with their 7th column chaos PvP tournament. And you read all the teams out last week, so we're not going to kind of go into that. But there is a link in the TWAB of the teams, how they're going to be facing up against each other. And if you donate or do fundraising incentives, there are some emblems that you can get. There are returning emblems and new emblem that we kind of went over. So returning emblems are the Circadian Guard, Mist Blossom, Look Up, Bloodstream, Kalua, Gateway to Knowledge, and Universal Constant. The new one is the Incandescent Emblem. And we also have a number of limited Destiny 2 Final Shape Collector's Editions available for $177. We have for $25, the Helping Hands emote and Steadfast Column shader. So a bit of basketball and a very Witch Queenie green shader. That's pretty cool. 700 silver, Sunshot Exotic Hand Cannon Weapon Ornament. So that's in-game. You can use that. That's very blue and red hearts, Bungie Day stuff. Pretty cool. But if you want to take your impact to the next level, start your own fundraiser and raise $500 to earn the exclusive exotic ship 7th Sail. This is like the Bungie emblem, but in ship form. Really cool. Yeah. If you can do that, I'd go for that. That's pretty cool. You raise the money, you get a ship, and then definitely show off in game.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. So I'll put that in the show notes for anybody that's interested in either donating or kind of wanting to do their own stream or raise some money for Bungie. So that's what's going on the 7th up until the 29th. And again, there's a Bungie Day sale. It's still going on. You have until the 15th to buy stuff on the Bungie store. I'm not sure if I think the expansions are still on sale on the Xbox and Steam stores as well. So if you like what you get for free, you can always purchase them and keep them forever. Well, apart from Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy, obviously. But, the other stuff you can get.
The permanent things stick around forever.
Sort of.
And yes, the sales go until the 14th of July. So, you've got another week to go. Yeah, so basically, you can buy them on deep discounts right up until you can play them for free.
Yeah. Oh, half and half.
Yep.
But have we got some new stuff coming, or old stuff that's going away, that is going to help you with your player support report? We
do, yeah. We have... I already told you at the top of the show, because really that's what you're here for, about all the things they're vaulting, all the things going away. They linked. This is where they link to those articles about, hey, here's a list of everything going away. Basically, you have until July 15th to do all the things. Your episode Heresy things, your Red of the Nine things, because your episode Heresy seals and rewards go away, your season pass items, your vendor rewards, your ritual vendor engrams, and your Bungie rewards. Make sure to claim anything that you've earned in the Bungie reward for something you want to buy from the store before then, or it goes away. And also, apparently, you hunters running the Astral Drake helmet previously shipped a fix to the Astral Stasis Drake Hunter cowl that removed the hood due to clipping issues. Later, they reverted it to add the hood, but people liked both versions, so as they promised, apparently, way back in March of this year, they're finally giving you both options. So when the Edge of Fate launches, anybody who owns the Astral Stasis Drake Hunter armor set can claim the new hoodless variant of the helmet from the special deliveries kiosk. The option will also be available to anybody who purchases the armor set going forward. So you can be hooded or unhooded, either way you want to go, starting in Edge of Fate. And now, as we do our countdown to what's broken and what's fixed, our known issues list for this week is the Eternal title still doesn't count toward the account total titles. It doesn't want to participate.
Fair enough.
Your Ascension aspect still isn't working with certain mods and armors. The Champ title still lost its gilded status. Don't know where it went. At this point, I'm just telling you, don't do the Drowning Labyrinth quest. Step 6 and 9 are broken and can't be completed by some people. Some parts of 3 and 4 can't be progressed. It's a mess. Good luck doing the Drowning Labyrinth quest for my Korra. Your derealize exotic mission, your taken relic, sometimes it falls through the floor in the Vrisk encounter. Sometimes it doesn't. So, 50-50 shot there. And 19, I've told you every week, your memento shaders can be previewed on armor in the armor management screen, but this is not intended and the mementos aren't being considered for use on armor. So don't get your hopes up.
Every week you've got my hopes
up.
And
then finally, and I know you're just devastated that your Seeking Filaments and Spirit of the Filaments cannot grant Devour while the Facet of Protection is equipped.
Totally devastated with that.
Now, Now, are you still not doing any crit hit damage on the Doctrine to the Shriekers? Yeah, probably. We just took that off the
No,
list.
because you told me not to do the quest, so I'm not doing the Doctrine.
Yeah, you don't need to. There's no reason to.
No.
And then we have art, and then we have video, and then we've made it to the end of the longest TWAB.
Well,
I'm excited for a new list of things that are broken coming soon. Not excited.
You may
Excited is
not
the wrong
actually
word.
get a list. There may just be, there's nothing wrong with the game.
Yeah, they may just be like, done, dusted, sorted it all out.
Yeah. We undid all the spaghetti code. It's now all just working perfectly fine. Apart from when we showed you on the
Everything's
stream that you can get soft locked in that one mission, which we don't know how to do. So
Listen, besides that, though, everything else is fine.
it is.
I know we mentioned a couple of videos, but before we do other videos, Destiny, again, they're just all over the place. In the Reddit r/Destiny fashion, this week they dropped. Well, let me start from the top here. We'll pull these links in the show notes. But if you're not following Destiny everywhere, good luck. So they tweeted out earlier this week at the Destiny 2 team account. They wanted to show, they ran out of time to show us the fashion on stream. Apparently, they were going to put this on the live stream and didn't. But they wanted to highlight the new armor sets. So they have the Warlock sporting the new Trials armor set, the Hunter being adorned with the Crucible armor, and finally the Titan wearing the new Pinnacle Ops armor set coming to the portal. So, and they post pictures of all three of those. The Trials set looks,
Trialsy.
very, very gold and white, and yeah, has the Trials logos everywhere. The Hunter Crucible armor looks like, I see this and it just looks like you put the kid in snow boots and things and set them out for winter. It just, I don't know, it seems puffy and protective to send them out in the Crucible.
They need puffiness and protectiveness.
It's important. And then the Titan is a samurai with big shoulders and banners and samurai sword.
We'll go with that.
Which I think they said the samurai sword is, note, the blades are on the Titan mark, so it'll be fun to mix and match with armors from other sources. So yeah, you get a samurai sword. Not just the Titans, but everybody gets a samurai sword for the Pinnacle Ops armor, I guess. I'm assuming everybody gets a samurai sword. If not, Bungie, did you? And apparently the Stone Guardian ornaments are coming to Edge of Fate. And this is again Destiny 2 team retweeting Crips, KRYPZ, showing off this new armor that'll be available for Bright Dust later this season. Look, they have what looks like a Titan with very shiny shoulders. Some of which are, one shoulder is green and gold glimmery. One shoulder is like, purple and pink. There's it looks like a shamrock like at his neck. I don't know. There's it looks like a mossy rock that like the sun has hit is how this armor looks. I don't have a better way. Again, go look at the links in the show notes, and because again, trying to explain these things in words is hard because this is a podcast and you can't see things. but yeah, new armor set that's coming up. They also showed off a preview of some more fashion in the r/Destiny fashion community. Destiny 2 team posts. They've got new armor sets for the Hunter, Warlock, and Titan that are very Vex themed. Looks a lot like the Taken weaponry. It's very, very Vex helmet, very Taken Vex themed. So yeah, that's apparently coming. So you can embrace your inner splicer. It's the Vex Lo-Fi armor ornaments that are coming to Eververse some point in Edge of Fate. They also showed off in the r/Fighting Lion subreddit, the Destiny 2 team posted a very similar sort of preview artwork for ornaments of the Fighting Lion that are coming. That again sort of has that same like splicer Vex theme to it. And I don't see it. I think that's going to forget. Yeah, so I think maybe they posted something else in some other random place, but those are the ones I saw that we'll put links in the show notes to, that you too can also look at and enjoy. So yeah, they're just all over the place with their different posts in different locations. So yeah, I think that's basically the news. And obviously, yeah, they have the stream. I'll throw the stream recap in the show notes because you can watch the longer version or you can watch their like 3.5 minute here's what we showed you version. And then the only other video I had to mention was, as promised, we talked about Engineer's video for the Warlocks and the Hunters last week. Yeah. And sure enough, he did one for the Titan, so going over the Titan stats and builds and things. So we'll throw that in the show notes to round out the collection. I think that's all I watched on YouTube this week, so... I know you've mentioned a couple of videos so far. Is there anything else that the people should know about?
Yes, I have. I've actually gone ahead and written these down this week properly. So we have, that I'm quite excited about, the Destiny Rising release trailer date. Destiny Rising mobile coming in August. And I did see, I think it was Jarv was joking that this is going to have more players than Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 combined when it launches. Like, well, it's a new game. So, of course, it's going to have new people and old people kind of, let's download this. Let's see where that game is in the same amount of time as Destiny 2. Shall we? Maybe. But anyway, that's coming. So they've got the release date trailer. The Lucky 10p Bungie started a war in Destiny 2 video that I was talking about. We've got the Edge of Fate Livestream 2, the Dev Insight links as well. And then we've got Datto with why you should prepare Starfire Protocol with next season's artifact. And he goes into why you want to kind of be looking at, especially if you're a Warlock. He does go over a couple of other exotics and things. He's looking at what's going to be possible with the new artifact, since we know all the perks that are coming on with that artifact, and exotic armors that we currently have and exotic weapons that we currently have now, and what you can kind of try and get out of the game now, putting on a ghost mod and saying I want high mobility or high intellect, and seeing if you can get some good rolls, which I have done. So yeah, if you've been hoarding those exotics thinking that Rahul was going to do something for you, no, he's not. So just go and throw as many exotics at the screen, put on the ghost mods, and see what you can kind of get in high stat rolls now before we get to the Edge of Fate. Fallout plays, I let Datto nuke my vault. Cheese Forever this week has a Big Blight small tip, which I found out just accidentally, but I thought I'd include his video in it. So that when you go into a blight, a lot of people jump on the top of the blight and shoot the blight from above. I went in and put my barricade down because I was doing a solo run in Prophecy of the Ultimatum mode. So I was kind of just farming that blight area with all the sand dunes. And I put my barricade down and stood behind my barricade. I started not taking any damage and I was able to shoot the thing without the big guy coming and stomping me. And I was like, I didn't realize that worked. And Cheese Forever put that in a video as well. It's like, oh, okay. Somebody else noticed it this week as well.
Hey, that's a thing you can do. Is it a bug? Is it a feature? Who knows? But it's a thing you can do in the game.
Yeah.
Great.
But before we go, I'm sure we have some patrons that we need to thank because they are here every week supporting us in talking for hours upon end about Destiny.
Yes, because why read the TWAB if you can have us poorly read it to you, but editedly read it more competently?
Yes.
Because I know Renard, Kalant, and Zeb Orbit are sitting here just on pins and needles. They've gone to Zero, they've bought the Choir of One, and they said, now I'm ready to go. Now I can sit and listen to things. Who am I kidding? They've earned the Choir of One. They wouldn't just go buy it. Now our grenade throwers, our Golden God 1562, Noble, Fire Squad 6088, the Man Conan from Texas, and Feral, they might have bought the Choir 1 from Zero. I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. And Deacon is treating her day one raid team of Gravy Jeff. He's going to solo this raid. It's going to be incredible. You've never seen mastery as you're about to see. And now that we've gotten through the longest TWAB that we have been slightly dreading ever since they announced it, but hey, was it as bad as you think? I don't know. You should tell us. You should let us know. Was this as bad? Was this as long? Did we read competently? You'll never know, because 19 makes us sound competent and brilliant. And until next week, I thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and 19. You can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, or everywhere you want to be. Just search Two Titans and a Hunter. You can email the show, twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. You should subscribe on YouTube, leave us comments there. You can get every new episode, every 801 video, Eververse, Crucible rotations, place your bets. What's it going to be? All the show notes we mentioned, if they're not in your podcast player of choice, twotitansandahunter.com. They're all there. The show's there. The links are there. Everything we talk about. Our lovely patrons at patreon.com/TTH. You've gone there. You can go there. You can also say, I appreciate your excellent reading and your perfect diction. You can also toss us a coffee at coffee.com/twotitansandahunter. That's ko-fi.com. And hey, we've got streams coming up. We'll tell you about them. The robots will tell you about them. Everyone will tell you about them. You should also go to twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter, and you can go there to know what we're up to. And until next week, we'll be out here again, telling you what else is happening in the Destiny world. Tell the people goodbye, Night Demon.
Goodbye, Night Demon.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.